Red Cow Arcade.
Is anybody here for a free car?
No.
Whatever. So we did Kick-Assia. The reason we did Kick-Assia was because Jason wanted us to. That's the reason. I was interested in watching their making ofs, and I was interested in, maybe talking about it someday. But Jason was like, Kick-Assia is the one. It's an important film to me. I have lots to say about it. He was at my house. We watched it together, holding hands.
I forced you.
And it just so happened that Scott was like covering Kick-Assia around the same time. So this, and we ended up producing one of my favorite episodes of the podcast ever, because we decided to try to leave everything out on the field but yeah, I mean, Scott beat us to it in terms of making this deluxe Kick-Assia kind of retrospective. So plenty of meta media as it relates to Kick-Assia. And then naturally this inspired, you're going to do the next one and the next one, right? So here we are. We have quorum. We can proceed. The year is 2011. The cameras, 2002.
Well,
it's definitely a consumer HD. Maybe it's 720p camera at the time. I can't exactly, but
I think I know what kind of technology it is. I think it's, for those who remember, I think it's HDV.
Oh.
Ooh.
Is anybody old enough to remember HDV? Not Jason. I'm talking to the old guys.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
I do. Jason, you might have grown up. Yeah, so it was a mini DV format, but they were special tapes. You had to buy a special mini DV tape. Not unlike how you now have to buy a special SD card for your Switch 2. What's old is new again.
I'm gonna correct you on this. They mentioned that Spoonie let them borrow a memory card, so they were using memory cards.
That's right.
Oh, good point. Right, they didn't say
catch.
SD card.
That was during the documentary. They said, because they remember when they.
But there were multiple cameras. This became a major.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it became a major controversy, because in the making of, Doug mentions it offhand. He's like, and when Doug takes on that kind of introspective narrator tenor that is not his natural speaking voice, and then what happened? The sun came up, and and Lindsay lent us a camera, and Spoonie had the great idea of using yet another camera. So I don't know. They could have been mixing formats.
Well, no, actually, I'm going to correct you on that, because he specifically mentions one of the people who had an extra camera. It was the same camera as the one,
right?
As Rob.
But there are 3 cameras. Are there not?
I think 2.
I think it was just 2.
I think it was 2. There's the Mati with his camera, but doing
I have a 3rd camera.
doing his documenting. But.
Mati, what's his name? Bargov.
Bargov.
But did they ever? I feel like I heard Bargo at one point. Anyway,
They call him Bargo, but it's Bargov Dranam Raju.
Wow. See, this is
Bargov.
When you do a mini doc on something, you get all these details correct.
I know, it's crazy. It's too crazy. I don't know.
But that guy actually. Did you notice, Scott? He has a little bit of a wit to him. He's a little bit funny. That guy.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what makes him stand apart. And he's more natural, don't you think? Too,
Actually, I thought the character of Mati was kind of fun and kind of funny. Well, here, let me. I'm not going to hide my feelings here. Okay, let me just be let me not bury the lead. So just to take you through this quickly again, right? I was a Doug Walker fan. EJ, you were a Doug Walker fan. Scott, you didn't grow up with him so much. You grew up with Nerd. You didn't grow up so much with Channel Awesome. Yep. Of course, Jason's a bit younger, so he grew up. He was I assume prepubescent watching these people.
Well, mid. I was a young teenager, I think. Yeah.
And I didn't go to that guy with the glasses for any of these other personalities. They were basically invisible to me. I just clicked right on Nostalgia Critic or something and watched those. But
did you go to the website?
I did go to the website. Yeah, you had to.
Yeah. Right, you had to. There was no other way to watch it. It's so fascinating. Even though I know that, it's something that wrapped my head around. But I remember they uploaded the movies, and I actually didn't quite. I thought maybe it was ancillary content. I thought maybe it was non-primary content. You know what I mean? I thought it was something else that Doug was involved with. It was in my periphery, so I never watched them. That's why Kick-Assia is new to me. I also kind of, as you get older and as YouTube moves on, I was kind of like, well, that looks hard to watch. And then Jason was like, you don't understand. It's got the, and like what he was saying struck the ear as like, well, maybe to him, this is like his Cannibal the Musical, his trauma, his indie film of that era, where it's like the it'll forever be charming because it's relatable in a way. And so I was told by one Jason Graves, I think credibly, that the next two are not, do not live up to Kick-Assia. Kick-Assia was where all the energy was.
I know you guys all loved this movie, apparently.
Yeah, so I actually, well, I don't know about all of us. I don't think EJ does, but I actually really liked, I actually had a great time watching this.
I gotta say,
I did too. I liked it.
So look,
I loved it, actually, in fact.
Me too, EJ.
Do you know what did it?
What?
I think, it was Jason. You did give us that disclaimer. Like, we're not going to have anything nice to say. So when I was watching it, I was like, you are so wrong.
Yeah. Did I just lower expectations enough to get you guys to actually enjoy
I think
this
that's
one?
what you did. You helped us because it was rock bottom. And it didn't look great anyway. It's like it looked too nerdy, but it was... I think after Kick-Assia, there was so much desert and very few scene changes that when this came into my view, it was like really refreshing.
Look, I watched a movie recently called Thunderbolts. All they had to do was balance 5 characters. They couldn't do it. They told maybe half a character's story. I saw this other movie a long time ago called Infinity War, and then maybe before that, Lord of the Rings, where they had to balance all these subplots and all these characters that are off in different directions. And you have to find story arcs for, and like archetypical personalities for each so you can track them all. They kind of did that with Kick-Assia, right? It felt, and part of it probably is the Kick-Assia orientation did get me, I now understand, where before I could not tolerate a film brain. Now suddenly, I know what a film brain is. He's a known quantity to me. He's not like assaulting my senses quite in the same way.
Yeah.
But I found that they actually balanced the characters somewhat.
Yeah, Kick-Assia definitely built a frame with which I was able to successfully view Suburban Knights. Like, it kind of brought me into this world. And I was able to be like, oh, and then when I did see Film Brain, I'm like, it's that guy. He does that shtick for some reason in the movies only.
There's a moment with Film Brain in particular where I'm like, we got it. We know who we. I think this happens sometimes with television characters, where maybe in the first season they didn't have their character moment just yet. You're still the writers are still trying to find that thing for them. I think him sitting up into frame, lost in the woods with derpy music playing behind him, and then a comical zoom out. I think it's like, oh, there it is. Now I know who he is. And you know what? He nailed the timing on, I will eat your penis. I thought he got it.
He nailed it.
So yeah, why don't we describe what the movie is? Because I also went in with a wrong expectation that, because everybody knows that post To Boldly Flee, the third movie, which who knows, maybe we'll love that too. It's 4 fucking hours or 4.5.
Everything's out the window at this point.
Seems bloody unlikely.
Yeah. This was already at the limits of toleration at 2 hours, but
I have a funny feeling that this is as high up as this is the highest altitude that you can get before you stop breathing. But anyway, after this, like he does demo reel, he does pop quiz hot shot. He starts incorporating, when he finally does bring back Nostalgia Critic, he incorporates skits all the way back in. It becomes I think a critical thing for him. It was an essential aspect, even though he knew and nobody liked it, right? So there's kind of like and also and not for nothing, I think that around that era, when he kind of brings back Nostalgia Critic, he makes the white wall behind him blue.
Yeah.
So I think of that as there's kind of like a digital blue era that I think is post this movie, or maybe this movie is like starting to be that transition into digital blue.
I don't know. I think that's just color temperature being wrong, and nobody.
Oh, it definitely is. When did the color temperature become wrong in that particular way?
It never
I'd have to
it never
investigate
come right.
a timeline of the Nostalgia Critic colors.
It's I guarantee you, I've thought it for 15 years. I might as well say it out loud. I remember when the wall became, he used like a blue reflector or whatever you call it, but he bounced blue on it. And I swear it's just because somebody was like, the white wall is kind of amateurish, and he was like, I'll make it blue. I swear that's what it was. It was just like somebody told him, like, maybe a little color, maybe a little depth.
And then his face is blue too.
But I because of all those sketches, because of what the channel would become, I assumed that this movie was when we start doing more green screen, or like lots of green screen, or like I thought there was going to be more, because I've seen clips and stuff. So I thought this was the one where he starts to talk to like John Travolta from that movie, the Scientology movie, Battlefield Earth. Yeah, thank you. I thought Spoonie is going to be John Travolta, and so he'll direct a dress camera, and then Spoonie will direct a dress camera, and they'll cut between them.
That's the next one.
And I was like, I can't do that shit. But no, instead they motherfuckers took a camera or two, not three, and they went out into the woods, and they braved the weather, which almost didn't cooperate, very nearly didn't cooperate. And they show, we're back to the question of, are we watching a movie here, guys?
Well, this time I have more ammunition on that front. Doug
so what's your position?
Well, Doug refers to this one as a movie in his commentary.
Yeah, I might be fully turned. It's a little bit of a what's the epitomology of a movie? What is a movie? What is the essence of a movie? Some of the knocks against these things are they aired episodically. They're kind of already part of a serialized web series. They're produced in the conceit of a web series, but they're also produced in the conceit of a movie. They're shot almost too quickly to be taken seriously, but they're shot with enough intention to be taken seriously.
And he said I think he said this was storyboarded.
Dude, I buy it. Because my takeaway after watching it was like, you know what watching a Doug Walker movie is like? It's like watching a pretty elaborate screen test. It's like if instead of storyboarding, somebody went out with a camcorder and said, here, with some amateur actors, we'll just shoot it for rhythm, basically. We'll shoot it for rhythm and for like rough composition. And then like more talented filmmakers will go back and make the whole movie. And we'll do this to see if it works.
You gotta hand it. You gotta hand it to Doug this time. He was prepared. And yes, he definitely, I can confirm that he did storyboard every scene. And because on Iron Liz and Holly Brown's commentary, she was actually saying that he had a storyboard for every single scene, which, that's pretty, you got to give Doug credit.
Do you storyboard, Scott?
I did because my director of photography really wanted it, and I wanted to help him. Yeah. I find it hard. I find it too hard in as much as like a lot of times the locations I've worked with in the past, I'm not really going to get to spend any time in there until the actual shooting day. Yeah. And so we just are going to kind of like, we're going to take the first half hour, figure out blocking, and then just start shooting and just kind of start laying stuff down and seeing what we need. Yeah.
But I guess, but then again, if I was shooting Looney Tunes, if I was shooting something where like canted angles and foreground and background and precise timing and you're cutting between characters speaking, you might actually have to do a little bit of fucking planning. That's the thing. It's like watching this, I'm like, even in its rough ass state, and it's in a rough state. This is, I said the same of Kick-Ass. I think it's even more true here. You don't wing this. You can't wing this. You can't make something that good. That's just so fucking weird. It's like he at once doesn't understand how a camera works, at the same exact time that he kind of quite really does understand how a camera works. He's a fascinating character.
Well, as we can remember from the last one, Rob Walker was really the cinematographer, although he doesn't want to take too much credit, but he was the cinematographer on Kick-Ass. So this one, he gives credit to Doug for doing much more. And he actually even says, I got to tell you guys, we all don't like Rob Walker, right? I mean...
No, I think he's a deeply untalented person.
Absolutely.
I think he's there to be... I guess probably just like as moral support for his brother. He's his brother's best friend,
And yet they're like enemies in a way.
Yeah. I don't quite understand it myself, but I know that Doug, I will go so far as to say, I think Doug is a very talented person.
I think he's
for sure. Like, you're going to take that away from him? Like, There's definitely assholes on the internet. I'd be like, that's not a talented person. Like, he's a talented guy.
Let's see you guys put out that much content for this long.
Dude, I don't know. Did you ever see the what's his face? Dylan the Night Owl's like big 4-hour or whatever on the it was like part 1 of Nostalgia Critic. And I was just I was paralyzed by like recognizing how much content was put out in 1 year, because he only went up to the first reunion, the hotel reunion. I was like, dude, when Doug's content hit, when he finally started getting some viewership, he did not let that opportunity pass him by. He's like, I'm just going to go to overdrive.
Yeah.
Well, what gets lost to time is all the fringe content he made, because he didn't just make Nostalgia Critics. He was making like 3 or 4 videos a week of just like various series and
ask that guy with the glasses, the bum reviews, Joker's brother, Melvin.
Just like random shit he'd do. Yeah, Melvin, brother of the Joker.
You know, he really is the I don't know, but I mean, you've all known creative people in your life, and therefore you've probably met a lot of people who are like, they claim to be perfectionists, or they claim to be paralyzed, like they can't move forward because it won't live up to my vision or something like this, and their vision languishes on a PDF on a computer forever. And Doug is the opposite. Doug's like, nothing's stopping me. Not the fucking white balance, not nothing. No. I'm shooting it.
It's like, I don't care if I have an outdated camera. It's like everything's blown out. It doesn't matter. It's going.
And I would admire it even if he quit in 2019 or something. Whatever, but still doing it. Still like showing up to that strange office building that they rent, knocking the blue lights on, and doing. I still enjoy watching him review commercials personally. But yeah, it's funny because here we are 16 years later. Right, this movie was made 16 years ago. It's crazy. Or came out 16 years ago.
14 years ago. 14.
Oh, sorry. Jeez.
Still a long time.
Long time, you know. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, you know, especially if you're young, you probably watch it and you're like, wow, you know, camera technology's come a long way. And I want to be like, no. Like in 2011, we were like, come on, can he like upgrade that camera?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he did. He from Kick-Assia to this, he's definitely using a better camera.
True.
Yes.
True. Yeah. So in other words, Doug is always about 5 to 7 years behind in camera technology at all times. Because like Kick-Assia is really schmutzy.
Yeah, because I remember like we were in the MMFA program during that time. And we were already switching over to like DSLRs with different lensing and things like that. There was definitely more interesting camera options that you could do. You could get a 5D.
Yeah, I shot Having Fun Up there 2 years later.
Yeah,
that was shot on a 5D. And I mean, you know, it's a different animal, but it's okay because look, I mean, you know, it's. I think, you know, in filmmaking, often like perfectionism is, or you know, lowering your standards, compromising is the difference between making it and not making it a lot of the time. And this is a production, you know, if you watch the making of, or it's very clear that like you're not going to be able to shoot anything with that amount of people who are all traveling, and then like you've got, you know, the plan was to do it in 4 days, and then you don't know if the weather's going to cooperate with you. Now this was all in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, they basically, you know, on day 2, right? Or was it day 3? They got completely, you know, torrential downpour, and it's an outdoor movie.
Yeah.
And there was like serious chat, especially supported by Mike Mashad, CEO of Channel Awesome, which Scott had a lot to say about in his video.
It sounds really hard. Maybe we do the mockumentary thing. That sounds.
I think
sure. Let's just
cancel mockumentary.
Let's just the mockumentary sounds. That sounds really good. I think we should do that.
That guy wasn't even on set. Like, what the fuck was he worried about?
One time on set, I was shocked to see him in the actual movie. Remember with
at the
Angry
beginning.
Joe?
That's the only time. Yeah.
Yeah. Was he actually not out there shooting with them?
Well, you don't see him in any of the behind. Like, he's not there in any of the when they show anything.
So what the fuck is going? This is a very valid question. What's the relationship here? What's going on? I've heard Doug say before, like, I just, you know, when it's like Christmas time and it's like, I just want to thank you for watching Channel Awesome. And I have the best boss in the world. He calls Mike his boss.
It's like bull.
It's such, guys, man, look, okay, yeah, so Mike Mashad, since we're here.
Yeah.
When they were at his apartment house, whatever, did you guys notice that in the behind the scenes that Rob and Doug were flanking him?
Yes.
As if he's the power structure, but this guy didn't come up with the character. the instant what day 2 wants to call it quits, make a mockumentary or a documentary, has no faith in the whole thing. Yet they're conferring with him like he does something, and we're all trying to figure out what does he do? Like, does he provide money?
Yeah, I'm looking at 3 men. I see one, Rob Walker, who's an obstacle and untalented. I see a second man who's apparently the boss, and he's absent. Creatively, mentally, emotionally, he's absent. And I see another guy who's the whole fucking thing. He's the whole. It's funny. It's like the comparison maybe to James would be like, a lot of people don't realize that or don't recognize enough that Mike Matei is kind of the second half of that. I kind of want to be like, any collaborator of Doug's is kind of expendable. Like, he's the guy.
Yeah.
Now, Scott, are you saying that Doug actually held camera for a lot of this movie?
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah. I mean, it looks better. And one thing that goes a long way, they wiped the lenses this time.
It's a good start.
It's a good start.
With Doug's tighty whities. Yeah, I even though like the camera fidelity or it's not great. So often the thing that like makes a movie watchable or not in the first place is whether or not the person directing it had a vision for it. Like, this is what I want it to be. Doug has a vision for things. Doug is
That's how I got you to watch these movies. Is we were having a discussion about movies and visions, and I'm like, who had visions for his movies? Like, you can say anything you want about him. Doug had visions for his movies.
Yeah, I agree. And what blows my mind? And I was gaining an appreciation for this as I was watching the making of. Was okay. So we just acknowledged how much content was created. Just a mind-boggling amount of content was created in the first year. Then Kick-Assia was year 2, right? That was the second anniversary movie. So that's a huge effort. Huge effort. Even if it is whatever, it's slapdashed a bit. So I don't know how long Kick-Assia takes to edit, but I imagine something like 2 months. This thing took 2 months to edit, which is really impressive when he's also pumping out nostalgia critics.
Yeah.
Because again, like even if this thing is kind of slapdashed, you can imagine how many single cam setups were shot on this thing, and just gluing them together would take you a serious amount of time. Yeah. Not to mention getting the pacing right? Because that's frames. And Doug is like, he attends to the pacing, I think, and the rhythm. Yeah. Rob doesn't edit, correct?
I don't believe so, no.
Yeah. He's fucking untalented.
He's the ideas guy. He comes up with all the ideas.
I'm an idea guy. No, I'm the idea guy. We'll get to Linkara. But anyway, and then like To Boldly Flee comes up kind of right around the corner, right? Like, no wonder he had like kind of a flame out. I think that's sort of what happened was I think he probably did do an early, like we talk a lot about how James burned out on the movie. I think actually Doug did have a burnout moment. It's just that he was able to like quickly rebound from it by switching up the kind of content he was making. I suspect.
Well, that's why he gave up the character for a bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But unlike James, he wasn't like, I'd really just prefer to make nothing. He was like, how about this? I'll start a Kickstarter and I'll do a fucking game show and but yeah, he just clearly wanted to do something else. But yeah, I definitely think that like Channel Awesome went too hard too fast. And that's why, the whole like change the channel document thing, when Doug says like, well, the truth is we bit off more than we can chew. I'm like, yeah, I kind of buy it. Like that's what that whole era looks to me like a period of time where you bit off more than you can chew. Like you probably aren't going to, especially if Mike Machad is the guy in charge, like you're probably not going to manage that talent especially well, right? No. Like they're going to need to expect that they're going to be neglected and that things are going to be stupid.
Yeah. This isn't even like everybody. Like everybody you see in the movie, that's probably not even like half the people that they had on the site. Like they were just bringing fucking people in all over the time.
Yeah, I think I think Doug was trying to write the script around who could make it out during that week. Yeah. And that was a moving target. Things were changing. Which is interesting. Yeah, that would be worth thinking about for a moment. Like who in the movie has the kind of arc that would not be like transferable to a different person if there was a scheduling conflict? Is there like any character that's like, oh, hey, that person has to be there?
In this one, it's like nobody. They're all pretty interchangeable, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Conan the Barbarian could have been anybody.
Yeah.
Spoonie is Gandalf, and anybody could have been Gandalf.
I like
in Kick-Assia, they had to have Spoonie, but other than that, like they probably didn't have to have anyone else in that one either.
True.
I do like when they build up to like that like Suede guy, and it's like who's Suede?
Oh no, dude, that was a big deal. You guys don't know how big a deal that was.
Explain this to me because I was
I remember the first time when this first came out or that part got released, I actually got spoiled because I read some of the comments like below it beforehand, and that sucked. No, this was a guy who in the first year of the site he made videos, but he's a Mormon and he went on like a 2-year mission or whatever the hell they do, where he didn't make videos for those 2 years, and this was his like return. They announced that he's returning like with this movie.
Oh,
and then he came back. He reviewed anime. I don't know. I was into him, and then
which guy was that? Remind me.
Suede.
No, but who did he play?
Suede.
Oh, he was the guy he was the last obstacle. He's like, fight me in combat, and then he like touched the sword. He's like, all right, here we go.
Right,
like,
right. There's like a big moment in the woods. They're like, Suede.
Yeah,
They like know him.
Yeah,
okay.
guy.
And I was like, okay.
No, that was a big deal. He was the first. I think he was the first person to leave the website, and everybody made like a goodbye video. There was a Doug Walker goodbye video to Suede, like saying, "Good luck, Suede."
They couldn't even do that for Jew Wario when he killed himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, they did it for Suede.
I never knew what a Jew Wario was. And then one day I saw like a special Nostalgia Critic episode where it was like, the other day Jew Wario killed himself.
What? Oh, I didn't even know that. There's a fucking Nostalgia Critic episode where he... Oh my god.
No, but it was like a special video. It was like a maybe a 40-second thing, and
everybody made that.
I was like, Jesus, there's a guy on this website that killed himself.
Even Bimmy weighed in on that. Like he even had
really
something to say about it. He made he didn't do a video, but he made a post on Cinemassacre.com talking about it.
He didn't know him.
Well,
you liar, Bimmy.
They were both in the brawl, so they were in the same room at the same time.
True.
So
in 2010, I met Jew Wario. Yeah. So here's my question.
He did a pretty good Bowie. I don't know.
He did. He did.
No, yeah, he did. It was the only thing. There's plenty of moments in this movie that don't work and are cringe, and we'll talk about those. One of them is like women in general are not like ooh penis,
or like
even the most heterosexual among them. Just because like a penis is implied it doesn't make them like swoon. Okay,
well, I think it's more like the David Bowie-ness of it.
No, it was when he showed his bulge.
yeah, they show that exactly, and then they're all up on him.
Because famously from Labyrinth, turn back, Sarah.
But it takes well, I guess balls to wear a zucchini the whole shoot. He had a huge zucchini in his pants.
Wow,
that's very.
Which commentary revealed that?
It was Rob's. I remember. Yeah,
that was Rob's. Yeah,
he paid the most attention to that fact. I want to know this: what's this DVD worth? I have the answer.
About a little less, I think.
No, it's more, man. Well, at least at this exact point in time.
You need to go by sold listings.
Okay. Well, all I did was search for like I see one on eBay. I think Scott's looking it up right now. I see a $1,200 one.
Yes, yeah. I covered that in the video too, and I was shocked. They have a Japanese, like a Chinese Dark Knight bootleg that was worth $1,000. So this thing beat that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after we had these Boxmac VHSs printed up that our friend Levi made, and we were just kind of musing about Kick-Assia would make a nice VHS, and sure enough, Levi reached out to Doug and was like, "What do you think?" And Doug was like, "Yeah, you can do that. I don't care."
This is the edit. I pan and scanned it, and it's going right here.
Oh, that's the 4x3.
That's it.
Did you go through each cut?
Every single cut, I readjusted, I squished some,
beautiful.
Went through the whole
That's
thing.
nice. Does it, is it kind of, did Doug leave you the latitude?
It feels at home. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think you should release that somewhere. Maybe in a Google Drive or something, because I'd like to run it on my, I'll throw it on a DVD and run it on my Sears.
I have it on a Google Drive. Yeah. So
yeah,
I can just send you the link.
Well, $1,200 it is. So there's a villain in this movie named Malachite, right? He's the dark magic guy that wants the amulet. I'm trying to remember the plot.
Is he based or cringe?
Gauntlet.
Cringe. He's mostly cringe.
I
No, I would say
agree.
he's 70%
Big reason I don't like the movie is because of him.
Totally fair, in my opinion. Scott said it in his video. He was like, everybody knew, a guy who wanted to look cool in this extremely particular autistic way in high school. Scott wasn't quite that inflammatory, but he meant it.
I was thinking it.
He was thinking it. Where you can smell the leather jacket, like when they open up the leather jacket, there's a little bit of a waft, and you're like, hey, like we don't need to be cosplaying all the time. But my first thought was like, you're trying to introduce the badassery because the opening scene is kind of like the No Country for Old Men bad guy, where it's kind of a drifter who's out killing people for using media or something. And but I think one of the first shots, he's just trying to hold on to his hat for dear life.
Yeah, because of the wind.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's tough to make him look like a badass.
If you look at the blooper reel, that hat actually does come off in there.
Oh yeah.
There's a blooper of them like doing the drive-by car shot, and then his hat just goes. Woo!
I would have taken an extra 10 minutes and figured the hat out. Tape it. I don't know. I figure it out. But not Doug. Doug's like, just hold it onto your head.
It makes you look cool if you hold it, I guess. Let's just.
Here's an improvement. I didn't spot any blatant non-tribute ripoffs of movies or quotes, except for one.
Okay.
Caught one. Because you remember in Kick-Assia, there's some like Simpsons lines and stuff, and it's not necessarily a tribute to the Simpsons. It's almost like they forgot that's from the Simpsons. You know what I mean? In some cases, like somebody please think of the children. That's clearly a quote. Then there's others like the you all saw him. He came at me with a chainsaw like that. That it's not directly what was said in the Simpsons, but it's almost the exact same thing. There's only one in this movie that I caught, and it was the sort of California skater. In the opening scene, he says, "That's beautiful, man," a la Scott Mosier from Clerks.
Yeah.
Guaranteed, that's what that's from. And he said Clerks stuff in Kick-Assia too. They're called Nazis.
Yep. I mean, the whole conceit of this film is that they're all playing characters, so the kind of like
you can almost get away with it.
Referencing movies, like you get away with it more because you're kind of.
I mean, even in the first movie, you could easily hand wave it as like they're all reviewers, they're movie obsessed.
Yeah,
but I don't think so.
It was nice to see them in costumes though, because then you could really they stood out more.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah, you need that. You need some like color science or something to kind of like when you're sorting through that many characters for sure.
Yeah,
it also like for my viewing enjoyment. It didn't have like a big long intermission the way Kick-Assia did with the whole here we are at Kick-Assia. I hate that fucking scene.
I love that. Yeah. I love that so much. I'm sorry.
I hate it.
It's like my favorite part of the movie.
Explain.
To me, it grinds it to a halt.
Now wait a second, Jason. You don't like? You said you warmed up till we were in the Discord. I remember you saying something like you warmed up to it.
It's not okay. Suburban Knights isn't as bad as I remembered. Just whenever I would go back and try and watch Suburban Knights, I am extremely put off by two scenes early on. The first one with the fucking bad guy kills the guy, that sucks. I hate it.
Yep.
And then when they're in Doug's living room, introducing everybody in costume one by one.
So for you, the first 15 minutes is tough.
That puts me to sleep every single fucking time. I hate that so much. And Doug actually addresses this in his commentary, which I was surprised to hear. He says that he gets a lot of feedback on that scene, and people that are like big fans of the site know all these people hate this part because it's just him introducing everybody one by one, and we're just like, okay, we know who these guys are. Why?
I'll give you this. It's time is actually probably
yes, it is.
Yeah,
probably like a third the length, and it's 4 times as funny as that entire scene.
Fair enough. Maybe if they had actually done it outside instead of in a living room, maybe the living room of it feels a little cramped. Or maybe they could have done it in satellite locations. Like maybe there could have.
It's not funny. It's not needed. I don't like that scene. It's like.
Well, I laughed at a couple of the jokes.
Yeah, I like the whole free car bit is really funny.
The free car bit is funny. I don't mean that one. I mean when they're in costume. When he's like, "All right, everybody, come back tomorrow," and then they all show up in costume, and he needs to say their name one by one. And then he's like, "Oh, look,
I mean, that's good for me because I'm like, oh, that's that person. I remember that from the first movie.
That's That's a good point, EJ, because Doug was even saying on his commentary that he admitted that Kick-Assia was more inner group, like inner jokes.
Yes.
And that this one was more palatable for another audience. And for me, I really don't know much about them except for Kick-Assia. So I was like, okay, so this guy's in it, this guy's in it, this guy's in it. I mean, it was a little helpful, but did I love it? No. But Angry Joe, like the movie should have started with Angry Joe.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
His energy, he was like funny in this movie, and then no, dude, I love it.
Yeah, he's a breakout star. You can tell why he went on to bigger and badder things. He's just got a natural charisma that most of them don't have. For my money, Doug, Angry Joe, and I've come all the way around Jason Spoony. They've got those three.
Nice.
Those three very clearly are the standout talents. And then you've got a guy in the background trying to be the fourth. Who sucks bad in this movie.
I ain't gonna knock on this film.
Hey, how come I don't get to be in it? I'll say one nice thing about the opening sequence. Much like bad color correction and white walls in apartments, digital explosions are kind of another of the era thing. I feel like hopefully we've all grown out of digital explosions. The kind that you download that have a fake green screen on YouTube and then you try to key that out and it looks like shit the whole time.
You got those from explosions.net. That was,
I'm not sure I've ever been to explosions.net.
No, I don't fucking know. That's probably
I'll take a break from the podcast and go visit.
Don't look that up. Never mind.
Yeah.
That can't be good.
You don't know what you're going to find at explosions.net. But, but anyway, there is a car explosion, a digital car explosion. I thought it looked pretty good. I was like, actually, that looked pretty good. Because there's like a little bit of debris. You can't really see the ghost outline of the car in the background. It's actually not bad. And then they cut before it looked bad.
Yeah. Hey, fair enough. Fair enough on that. And that was Phelan, by the way.
Oh, he did the After Effects or whatever?
Yeah. A big amount for this movie.
Okay, he needs to do something good because his character sucks. It's definitely for me a big drag. I'm like, that's not my favorite character.
I don't get that guy. I really don't get him.
Yeah.
Like, what's he do? What does he? Wait, what does he do?
He's
he's very annoying and tall. That's what I gathered.
That's right.
He's married to Snow White in this. Like they're married.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody has hope.
I guess so.
I want you to internalize that, Jason. I want you to remember.
Okay.
On your darker days, Phelan has Snow White.
We should talk about her. She wrote like half of the Change the Channel document. That girl did.
Oh, she's got a big axe to grind against.
She's the one. Yeah.
Oh.
Fucking, don't. There's snakes in the fucking grass.
Wasn't in Kick-Assia. She's new to this one.
I just, I don't know about you guys. Like I'm very affronted by betrayal in that. To me, it's like if you're all going to get together, you're going to do a creative thing together, even if it doesn't go perfectly. You're not going to write a fucking book about how the guy's an asshole. It's just so, but it's such a betrayal.
Yeah.
Like obviously Doug, and here's the thing. Okay. So let's just cut to the chase here and we'll go through the movie soon, but let's cut to the chase. Because they got rained out, they were considering canceling the movie, which is really a shame. Especially for anybody who's ever like tried to tie a thing like this together before. Imagine you show up, you're ready, you're in costume, you got everything ready, you got the scripts, you got the storyboards, and you cancel the whole thing because the weather didn't work out. So they're ready to cancel it and improvise a sort of like Hearts of Darkness style, failed, Man of La Mancha type of like making of documentary. They thought maybe they could do that. And they were like, it's going to suck. It's going to be very bad. But, and I don't think the fans want to watch that. But we're going to make something while we're here. And then it was, what's her name? Rachel, is it? What's her name?
Holly Brown.
Holly, the site administrator. She's like, no, I think actually the cast wants to do this. And they all had a very awkward, presumably smelly meeting in a hotel. A second toilet was clogged, I have no doubt. Sorry. I'm ready. Flush. Let me just hit it one more time. Baby.
Sure will go down this time.
They had a big
credit
meeting
for this, by the way.
Who
this
does?
meeting happened, and Rob's like, "Oh, then I had to convince Doug to have this meeting to maybe have people vote on it." He says in his commentary, he takes credit for this meeting happening that we see in the making.
It's like it's Holly.
Well, Doug goes out of his way, at least on camera, and then sort of in the narrative of the rest of the making of, he goes out of his way to show everybody. I would say to the point of virtue signaling, actually. Like he sometimes goes a little over the top with it, to show just how considerate of everybody's time and safety and all the rest of it. He's worried about the weather. He's worried about the cold. He's worried about people's discomfort. And he, over and over, he's like, I don't want you guys to have to do this, you know? And then, yeah, he ends up saying, like, just write on a piece of paper anonymously whether or not you want to proceed with the shoot. And I think that did they actually proceed with the vote, or did it just get cut when everybody's like, hey, listen, we actually do want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they cut that off.
And they didn't do the vote. The vote to me, I do, you know, look, call me a dictator if you must, but like, I'm not the vote guy. I'm the like, yeah, go meet with EJ and Nina and like figure it out and then come back and be like, the plan is, and then you can do whatever you want, you know?
That's how you get shit done though, Frankie. I mean, that's good though, right?
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
You shouldn't leave. Yeah. I dig that.
Yeah. Well, you know, otherwise, like, I mean, what's an anonymous vote gonna get anybody in this situation? Like, so what if you get voted down and now you're stuck on the shoe or whatever? You know, I think there should just be an option to leave if you must leave. But yeah, it was dipping into Easter, right? They were gonna have to shoot on Easter. Some people were like, you know, actually had like family plans, but they all kind of rallied. Some of them. Angry Joe, man. Angry Joe is a good dude because Angry Joe had a like a sentiment in his voice, I thought, that showed like, we actually support you. We actually, like, in a good faith way, want to make this movie. We're here to make a cool movie. Lindsay, you could kind of hear in her voice more of a, I thought, like, condescending, like, oh, Doug, you retard. You know, I'm going to try to make decisions for you. I got that from her. And, you know, and Linkara kind of just, he ended up, I don't know, singing a song or something at the end. I was like,
he grand skins. And they were like doing like, like to his grandstanding speech.
But it actually touched Doug. And that, I think that's totally honest and totally true. Like, I think that Doug was genuinely surprised that a crew of people volunteered their time and their discomfort to like go proceed with making this. And I think, like, I really think Doug became like sentimental by the end of the, you know, especially if you've ever been in the situation, you're exhausted at the end and you're like, oh, you know, I imagine, you know, it's like you're just like coming down from this emotional high sort of, like, I can't believe people want to make movies with me. And then for them to turn around and write this fucking document.
Yeah.
You know, after that show of like, hey, we'll be uncomfortable. On that topic, Lindsay, it's really sad. On that topic, Lindsay, you know, in the first movie famously complained about craft services. In this one, it was permits. She's got to have something every movie. I guess the next movie, it's rape.
So I looked at this park on Google Maps. Getting a permit for this fucking place? No. It was just in some like random neighborhood. Like, fuck that. No.
Yeah.
I'm with Doug.
Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time with a permit. Yeah. Like, get out of here with that shit.
Yeah, if you're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, even if it's like the suburbs of Chicago, you won't need a permit anywhere.
I
It was
don't
like
think
a
I've ever
neighborhood
once.
park.
I've shot on location a lot, and in some of the busiest areas of the city, in weird parts of like a rural town. I've just shot, especially when you're younger, you can kind of get away with it a bit. I imagine as a 40-year-old man, maybe they'd be like, where's your permits? But I used to worry about that. I used to be like, I'm probably going to have to like stop making movies by a certain age because I just won't be able to get away with it anymore. But
having fun up there, you did it tremendous, dude. Like, I was like, how did you get so many great locations on that? You didn't pay permits on that?
No. So the only one that we paid for was, two.
The bar.
There was the bar, PA's Lounge. We paid $100. We just showed up that morning because we got locked out of the other one. And we like found another one down the street and we were like, hey, like there's no customers here really except for that one woman. Like, can we can we shade the windows and then like shoot in here for $100? And they were like, okay. Or maybe it was $150. I don't know. It was cheap. And then we had in advance arranged for that coffee shop. That nice coffee shop was, I think, $400. And It was something like that. Other than that, in your ear music was free. Everything was free. Salem, we showed up. Like, I mean, we parked with the rest of the tourists and we walked around looking for a good spot to shoot and we just started shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, all you need is if you got I'll tell you one thing that's helpful: not having a boom mic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, really.
If you have lav mics and you got one camera and 2 actors,
especially
it looks like a photo shoot.
And nowadays you have the DSLR. Yeah, it looks.
Oh yeah.
It looks
we had John with a field recorder. He just sat under like a canopy somewhere, like a little off distance, and you just shoot. But there was one time where cops showed up. One time, not in that movie. It was that we were shooting a movie called Vibes, a short film. It didn't come out good, and
oh no.
And we had a character dressed up like a cop. And we didn't ask for permission, but we were parked right by my house, and the neighbors called, and cops showed up, and they were like, "Hey, you could get in serious trouble for not asking for our permission to do this," and then they went away. So I would say, yeah, if you and your friends are gonna dress up like Link and run around a park, like just do it.
Just do it.
Even if Dan Olsen thinks it's cringe.
I've fallen into this trap before by paying for permits. We were overly cautious, and if I ever make a movie again, I'm going to steal as many locations as I can.
It's also how you get. I mean, that's kind of like how you can accumulate good locations. Is just kind of just make sure you go in with a shooting plan and just get it.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so here's the first time I knew, like, I might enjoy watching this movie. For me, the slam cut to the opening credits with the music. Now, it would have been a lot more epic if that font was not whatever the fuck that font was. But when they started showing that kind of tapestry of the characters, and they were playing this epic music, and they were like, yeah, like Suburban Knights. I was like, come on, come on. I was excited.
Well, you knew who these people were. You're like, oh, he's there? Yo, he's back? Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Well, remember Kick-Assia? That was just like the pictures of the wars and stuff. This is a big step up.
Totally agree. We had that argument last time, which was like, are pictures of war good? And for me, I just couldn't really like connect with it. But whereas this was like, they were hyping me up for these characters. And then, the next scene, they make good on it.
I like how Linkara has third billing in this for some reason, because it was nostalgia critic Lindsay Ellis, and then, or Doug Walker, Lindsay Ellis, and then whatever his name is. Whatever.
Those are the 3 stars? According to billing?
That was the top billing. And then there was the rest of them.
Okay. When I saw it directed and edited by Doug Walker, I said aloud, hell yeah. That's a great credit. Directed and edited by Doug Walker. There's no Rob, stinking the joint up.
Yeah.
Look, these notes are no good, because the next note was Film Brain remains the worst, and that is not true. Film Brain did not remain the worst. So I wasn't into him at first, but he won me over. So they have to LARP to get prize money. That's a pretty good premise for a stupid movie like this, right? Mm-hmm. It kind of, at least I used to wonder, I was like, do they explain why they're in costumes? And they do. There's a story reason.
I heard this described as the best worst D&D movie, because it's like not really a D&D movie. It's really awful at that, but it's fun. It's got
the timing down. Then like the couple of jokes that worked on me during the scene that Jason hates was, what's the Elvish word for Pratt? Made me laugh. Good Lord of the Rings joke. I'm Willow. Worked for me for the whole movie. It's funny. It's funny because it's not immediately apparent that he's Willow. He is, of course, giant and tall. At first you think they're going to make a drag joke, right? That's part of what makes it funny, is you think they're going to go for a drag joke, and then the dude just says, "I'm Willow," and he is in fact dressed like Willow, and you're like, "That's really fucking funny." I wonder who wrote that. But yes, I thought, yes. Okay. There's one line read in this from Doug that I have not been able to get out of my head since I saw it. And it's by far my favorite moment in the movie. It's not even close. Like there's something genius about that. I showed Nina to see if I was crazy, and she got a huge pop out of her too. Mati shows up. He's like, I want to be in the movie too. And they start fucking with him to, make him go away. Lindsay says, I lost my contact lens. And Doug goes, oh, you hear that, Mati? She lost her contact lens.
Yeah,
it's the way he says it. She lost her contact lens.
I also made note of that. That is a great delivery, and it got a huge pop out of me.
And in the change the channel doc, they're all bitching, Snow White chief among them, about how like Doug always gave them line reads. Say it like this, say it like me, deliver it like me. And I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, I don't know what you expected to bring your own personality. I mean, a Doug movie is going to be a Doug movie.
Yeah, he's directing it.
and a lot of the jokes in the comedy come directly from the way things are spoken, and the timing of them. Like that's the thing about he's one of the. I mean, who's like a professional filmmaker that's a good example of this, where rhythm and timing is kind of everything. I have to think about it. But anyway, not Stanley Kubrick. But yeah, I thought Phallus sucks, right? Phallus, is that his name? Not Phallus.
Is that the guy with the gray blobs all over him? What is?
Yeah. He's like, they're my friends.
What was he dressed?
That's a rock. I asked my wife this. I think that's a rock creature from Never Ending Story.
Okay.
I asked it too. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. I could have used some like cut in some clips from Neverending Story or something, like help me out here.
Well, to your point about Doug, just real quick, giving direction, like fine, whatever, a line reading here or there. But one thing he does, he tries like with Kevin Baugh, our friend Kevin Baugh from the first movie.
Oh, sure.
Tried to make him go over the top. My boy Kevin stuck to his guns and made that character like he underplayed it, which was great. Okay, so Snow White, I called her Lupus Obscura. It's Lupa.
Lupus Obscura.
It's always Lupus.
And she was saying that he was trying to give her line readings go bigger, but she didn't, and I think that helps. I think, and Doug later said that her underplaying it was the right choice too, which was interesting.
In other words, Doug's not against a little pushback and a little challenging, right? Like, if you got a better idea, I'm sure he'll take it, especially like quick and in the moment. But I think like he goes in with an expectation. Yeah, don't forget he's an illustrator, right? Like I think he has more of an animator's sensibility about him in a lot of ways than a filmmaker's.
Oh yeah,
it feels that way to me.
Yeah, these are cartoons. I mean,
very much so, and but like in the truest sense, like where what makes a cartoon is the things that are exaggerated and the things that are and the cartoonish composition and the timing and the rhythm. So yeah, like it's. All of the comedy comes from the way it's designed. That's what makes it so. That's why it's so curious that it's so imperfect, because it's actually like the things he cares about are perfect.
Yeah, well said.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy with the cat puppet looks like Tim Dillon. To me, anyway. I don't know how I felt about I thought it was a little funny. The close up, at least, I thought was funny.
Yeah. It was so shocking.
It was just so absurd.
I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I mean,
with all of a sudden, just like a regular fat guy.
The joke of like fighting it is funny for sure.
Yeah, and the cat actually seeing. He was like moving his head.
Looking around.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Doug comes up with good ideas. Lindsay doing Liv Tyler was cringe for me every time.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe partly because she looked a little bit like sweaty, like they shot that like in a hot room later.
Oh, they did.
Did they?
They did. Yeah. After the movie was shot, they did it in a green screen.
I know a hot room later when I see one.
I thought it was fine for like one gag, but they kept going back to it.
The payoff is pretty good at the end, where you just see what she's actually doing. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, if they had done that, maybe. Maybe if they did it once at the beginning and then paid it off later. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, they do that the whole movie. They take a great thing and they do it over and over. That's the problem with these movies.
True. I wonder if they would have done that less if it hadn't been released episodically, where the episodes also have to stand alone with beginning, middles, and ends. Because I thought like a couple of times, like because this thing runs at like 2 hours and 9 minutes, I think. There were a few times where especially during like action sequences or just like pratfalls and stuff, I was like, all right, like we can like move on to the next thing probably. But I think the reason was because that whatever that was probably the capstone of that episode before it would like do a little break. So I wouldn't mind, nobody will do it. Maybe the VHS release will do it. I wouldn't mind if somebody just went in and kind of just trimmed up like those little moments between the episode cuts, just for a little bit of cohesion. Just George Lucas said a little bit.
A good edit to this movie could make the difference. An hour and a half. Make it kick-assy length.
Yeah.
Maybe shorter.
Yeah, 90 minutes would be great.
Yeah.
And an hour and a half for something this scrappy is a long movie, actually.
Yeah.
Thing is like even good low budget movies, I've learned over time the runtime's got to be short. It's got to be real. Yeah. It's got to be real short because even the ones that are really good, for some reason the audience just kind of gets a little tired of it. Right. It's just not, it needs to be a higher standard to survive longer runtimes.
70 minutes, guys. 70 minutes.
I think
That's
so.
What you got.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, nobody will be pissed off at your 70-minute movie, probably.
It's hard.
Yeah, or it makes it a little harder on them. And then if they really loved it, you can give them some special features or something, right?
Yeah.
And this one probably should have ended like 2 times before it actually does end. Like he kind of just keeps it going for like another 5 minutes, and then it's like, and then another 5 minutes, and it's like,
yeah, we might need to trim this thing up and re-release it on VHS.
Well, it wouldn't fit on one because we only get 2 hours on the tape, so.
True, so we have to trim it. There you go.
Yeah,
it's what's the something necessity. Creativity is the. I thought the Jeremy Irons thing was unfunny. I could have done completely without the.
Get out.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul. Yeah, Paul fucking sucks in this. Yeah.
Yeah, it interrupted the flow like every time.
And you could feel the sweat of his performance. He was like, I have this one thing.
That's also one where in the commentary, Doug is just like, yeah, I really didn't have anything for Paul to do, and I felt bad. And then I came up with this awesome what they gave him, and like, no, that wasn't awesome, Doug.
That wasn't awesome.
The not so awesome document should have had that. We should make our own, and it's just stuff that we thought was imperfect about Suburban Knights. The not so awesome document. Oh, that's funny. You killed my mother, father, somebody. Yeah, probably they did it 1 or 2 too many times, but it got a laugh out of me every time just because Angry Joe is so committed to the performance. So it was just kind of a joy to watch him to perform,
Yeah, it was good to see him with his guns again too. First time I didn't know that was his thing. When he, when he pulls out his guns, I got excited. Yeah, okay,
it was funny.
Which means something's happening.
We're doing guns now.
I feel like editing the last podcast that we did also like grew my attachment to the material. Where if you have to watch Angry Joe like shoot his guns around and them go enough times, like it's kind of an hysteria overtakes you after a while.
He's funny. Like I'm glad you've come around. There are like a lot of these people. Like you were complaining the first time we watched it that they were ugly and you didn't want to look at them. Like that's not even on your mind now. Like you're not even like, oh, those people are ugly, I don't want to see them.
No, yeah, generally not. Maybe 1 or 2, but. I hear that, every once in a while about the podcast. They'll be like, well, I started watching and it was 2 fucking nerds and, so it's going to suck. But then I overcame the video and I actually decided I like you guys. So there's a first impressions problem when it comes to nerds, unfortunately. Stick with me. Stick with Doug. We'll get you through. Speaking of Doug, his penis. Doug's penis.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that joke, I won't lie. It's a good one.
The ball shot?
Yeah, it's a good gag. Shot. I like it. He went for it. He complains about it in both the commentary and the making of and says that it wasn't worth it. I think it was worth it.
He's embarrassed of his balls?
No, it was very cold and he was like shivering and stuff. And it's like, I don't know.
No,
being cold for a day, I think it was worth it for that joke.
Right.
He has Holly to thank for that one, though, really.
Right.
Holly was the one who said, you got to do it. You got to spread it wider. That's what she said.
Well, if you're going to do it, you got to do it,
Yeah.
Look, Holly deserves a lot of credit, I think. She obviously she was instrumental in getting the movie back together again. She does have this little bratty moment when they rally back together and decide we're going to shoot this movie. She sticks a finger in his face in front of everybody and says, I fucking told you. And it didn't, feel to me like somebody who likes Doug. It felt
was
to me
not-
like somebody who was mad at Doug.
She was not with the company much longer. She was not there for the next movie. She was gone.
I don't want to look. I don't want to sound shitty here. I don't want to be talked to like that. I not in front of a big group of people. I don't want to be talked to like that. Like, you know, joke with me, whatever, a little self-deprecating humor in front of the whole crew. Be like, I fucking told you, you know, and show to everybody else you were about to quit. Like, unnecessary, Holly. Unnecessary.
So you're getting the sense that it was not about helping Doug. It was more like, hey, these guys, I got these people to.
It was an ego moment.
Yeah, I feel you.
It was an ego moment. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, maybe deserved because she saved the movie, but didn't she then contribute to the not so awesome document?
I don't know if her testimony's in there, but she's definitely referenced.
Did she mention how bad the color correction was in certain aspects of the film? And how clogged the toilet was? Not one person mentioned the toilet. Yeah, okay. Here's a pitfall of this movie. Kick-Assia has a little bit of this, but this movie I felt that era of camera had like the digital overexposure more than I feel like even the past era of camera. Like I thought the overexposure in Kick-Assia didn't look as bad because all of the video looked poor. So if you know, for instance, if you had a white sky or you had a, you know, white just blasting through the, you know, the dining room or whatever, it looked terrible, but it kind of went with the, you know, this, I felt like the whole movie is a bit, I think actually the whole movie was accidentally overexposed, like just like turn the dial down like 1 or 2 stops.
Well, I'm sure they just did auto settings and just.
Well, the auto settings they're high.
This isn't a technological complaint, but I will say, I think it's a shame it was overcast and kind of shitty out the whole movie because that takes away from it a little bit for me too. Just
you want some of that kind of fantasy color and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be like
digitally.
a shitty. I don't know. I just don't.
They could have gotten it digitally because you know. Conventional wisdom is that it's nice when it's overcast when you're shooting outside because then you don't have these sort of like streaks of light. You have like balanced light, right?
Also, they shot in like early spring or winter, so there's like fucking all the trees are dead. I don't like that.
Trees, yeah. Because
it's a little drab, at times. It works when they're on like the sort of the side road in the woods where it's supposed to feel like you're kind of like wandering through the wilderness, but.
This reminds me, there was this random shot where I think the cloaks were in the background. They're walking towards camera, and I just don't. It was late one night. I noticed in the background a bird just falls out of the tree dead onto the ground for no reason.
Like a real fucking bird?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll probably find that and, you know, give that to you guys. But I was like, wow, that's a bad omen right there.
True, but it's also you know, that's production quality.
Yeah.
That's like I would have made something out of the dead bird if I could. Yeah. You know, maybe make a fart joke like Linkara farted and the thing died. I don't know. Like you could maybe fashion a joke out of that.
But I do agree. I do agree.
That's the problem.
The early spring with the matted dead grass and like it is an interesting vibe, and it does it made me feel cold while watching it.
I like the vibes of Kick-Assia a lot more, where they're in a desert and it looks like they're in a desert.
I can see that. But what I liked about this was some of the location diversity. I felt at times maybe a little bit claustrophobic at Kevin Baugh's ranch.
Yeah, like Kick-Assia has 3 locations. You've got hotel room, you've got Kevin Baugh's house, you got Kevin Baugh's yard. That's what you got.
Well, you know, I actually, one of the things that probably did work for me on this movie was the fact that because they had concurrent storylines with different characters, being able to jump away from film brain for a minute.
That's a good point.
And
that's a good point.
Yeah, I find that helpful.
Yeah,
of getting
the
through
groups.
the movie. Where not, things aren't outstaying their welcome too badly. And I was surprised that the groups that didn't include Doug actually like stood on their own.
Well, again, because Doug was holding the
thrived.
camera for those groups.
Yeah. Well, so he did a decent job.
Mars Girl deserves a shout out, I think.
Oh, the one she's doing Japanese the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually sounded pretty good.
Yeah, well, she I guess she's a big fan of that place. And in Kick-Assia, she was coming back from Japan at one point. Yeah, she really took a lot of time to make sure she was doing as close as possible. I guess fans at the time were still,
They cared.
tearing it apart, but I thought that was kind of cool.
Can you imagine how much Doug was like, fucking just, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing has to be perfect. Nothing. Except for this line read. Except for she lost her contact lens. I love that fucking line. Yeah, I have a note here. Midsection dragging, don't need bum review. I thought the bum review was disruptive. Maybe it got a pop out of a bum review fan out there. But the wraiths being out of shape, the cloaked wraiths being fat dudes. No, that's funny. Because you don't know that they're fat dudes.
Was that an intentional joke? I don't think that was intended. I think that was just who they had.
Well, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that occurred to me. I was like, this is who you get. But
Yeah.
but and it also occurred to me, I was like, because Lord of the Rings came out, in 2000, the Return of the King was 2003. So this is many years after Lord of the Rings, and still a lot of the comedy is coming from parody of Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, that movie had such a cultural impact. Like it just echoed for the next decade or two in everything. Cutting the playground bridge as Indiana Jones. Funny, exclamation point.
Best joke in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I liked Brad Jones in this one.
Yeah, well, he's doing a reasonable Harrison Ford impression.
That's a pretty good impression, yeah.
And he's actually parodying moments from Indiana Jones. So I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, I used to hate that guy. His voice really bugged me, but this one I was like, oh man, he's coming around.
Here. Huh? Well, I'm just saying, I don't know about the guy's content. That's all I was going with that.
Oh, I've never really watched his stuff. My director of photography, he hit one of his movies.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Some people.
Yeah. Not another cinema snob movie.
What shall we do about this bum? Should we, we should probably, because I intend to review every YouTube movie on the planet now because I've enjoyed doing this so much.
We have some people in the Discord that love those movies. That think that I've never seen them, but I don't know. We know some people who swear by them though.
But yeah, there's some question about Succession. So we know Taboli Flea is next. Yeah. And then I believe there's a kind of a fake fourth one, but there's also the Linkara movie. There's a Linkara movies, right? Or is there one? Is there two?
The Linkara one came out after the fake fifth one. So if you want to go chronological, it's what the fuck's it called?
Oh, you consider it the fifth because you consider the hotel room a movie?
No. Okay, so it's Kick-Assia, Suburban Knights, Holy Flea, and then the one I'm blank, the something. What the fuck was it called? The Uncanny Valley or something? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, something like that.
I bet you can get that on DVD for $12.
That one is such a non sequitur because Doug isn't playing himself. Doug is playing a character, not Doug Walker, not Nostalgia Critics, and he's.
I've seen moments from it, and it doesn't feel like Channel Awesome. It feels like somebody else.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. It's something. Well, what they did for that one was literally just submit segments to me, and we'll compile them, and that'll be the anniversary. And Doug's is only the first half hour. And all the other segments are just shit that other people contributed to it on their own.
Another standout moment for me that I go back to and laugh at. Doug repeatedly screaming at the witch when she starts doing her incantation. He's like,
done on a different day, by the way. They were not next to each other.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think I see that a lot with Doug. I see that he grabs his shots later, and that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, well, it's easier.
Smart.
Yeah.
He's efficient as fuck.
Yeah, he is. Holy shit.
He's
he should have helped James. He really should have.
Yeah. Aren't they friends?
He is in the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, so in a small way, he did help.
And he screams just like he does with the witch. And they probably got the shot later.
You're right. He does.
His scream is the best, man. He's got a talent for that ridiculous scream.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Kind of Homer Simpson-esque. And I think, the choice, right? The creative choice, the comic choice to loop the scream.
Yeah.
You could sustain the scream, that's one choice, but to loop the scream and to cut between the two of them and for her to continue her incantations while he's screaming.
This is another joke Rob takes credit for in his commentary, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
I'm the funny one. Like I said, I wouldn't be so like down on Rob if I hadn't seen the making of To Boldly Flee, where he interviews himself and he is just so up his own ass.
Oh my god!
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
We're gonna have some fun, Scott.
Well, there's a point in the documentary where it's such a Rob Walker moment where he's like, "You shouldn't complain during the shoot because I'll be standing on my feet all of these 2 days," and it was like such a like, ugh.
Oh, dude, absolutely. He's like, anyone who has a problem can talk to my fist. Do you remember that?
I sure do.
Like, why are you even up there on the wall, Rob?
Some moments with Rob, the Malachite guy, it feels like echoes from my past, people I've met in my life. It feels like I've encountered this before. Yeah, I've got a note that just says Rob sucks. It's right in the middle of my notes. Oh, the give me the light rock I thought was unfunny. Ultimately, I thought it was Spoonie showing up. I thought it was somewhat funny. Way too long though. If you condense that,
it references a board game called Nightmare, which actually my wife had that as a kid. Like she had godparents that were weirdly foreign, and they went there. So they came out from out of country, came there. They stopped by a tag sale, picked up Nightmare and gave it to her as a kid, and apparently it was like the scariest freaking board game because you put in a VHS tape and then like you would have a dungeon master or something like scream at you the whole time.
I remember. I've seen it. I think James reviewed it.
And,
he did. Board James.
And so,
on Board James. Last year I did a big binge of Board James with Gloria. She was loving it.
Hell
and
it's good.
In my head there were like 12 Board James. No, there's way more than that. Like it went on. We were watching it for hours, like just hours on end. I was like,
well, there were 2 runs. There was like the no storyline run, and then it went away for a bit, and then he came back with like the storyline, and those are
in my memory it was like there were maybe 3 straightforward board game reviews, and then it went all into lore and a dead end drive. And he turns into the AVGN. I thought all that happened like a few episodes in, basically. Obviously, Dream Phone and Mr. Bucket. To me, it was like a 12-episode series that culminates in the bridge game. But anyway, it was much longer.
That's some of the best stuff he ever did. I still love it.
It's creative. He was clearly enjoying what he was working on. Yeah, and it was in his wheelhouse too, because he since he was a kid, he likes to shoot little miniature shit. Like, there's 2 things James loves.
Probably my like a top 5 James Rolfe visual for me is the thumbnail for Board James Explained, where he's like sitting on his couch. It's really.
We should really spend a little time on the Board James lore sometime.
We should. That's a good idea.
Make sure we understand it.
It's so good because it also encompasses the split of Cinemassacre, like with what's his name, the guy with the eye patch and those.
Oh, Bootsy. Yeah, sure.
Bootsy. He left after that. He was so. We got to talk about this sometime because I'm not inviting myself.
You're coming on.
He was. He was like pissed in that last documentary they did. He was talking about how much he's like, why do I work with this guy? And he was. I don't think he was kidding, but he wasn't kidding.
Wow. In the Board James documentary.
Yeah, the last one they did on it. You got to watch it. It's very telling. Wow.
Yeah, because it was years later that I learned that Bootsy was even mad at anybody in the first place. There was like a Mike post about it was about money. Mike was withholding money. Damn Mike. Well, so anyway, Bimmy shows up in this as a beam of light, as a BIM of light.
Yeah.
He does his lore dump as the BIM of light.
Yeah.
He obviously had no time to come out for the shoot. Fair enough. I mean, he'd have to come out to like Chicago, right? He's not doing that.
Yeah. The hell no. He would never do that, especially not. No, he would never.
I mean, he'll go to L.A. But
that's where you shoot movies.
Excellent point.
That's where you shoot.
To be fair, if I'm James level, this was James at the height of his power, 2011. This is James at James is never going to get higher than 2011. And they ask him to do something. He's not going to drop everything and go out there. He's too high level.
Should I spoil this? What if I told you he's physically in the next one? James is?
Yes. Did he come out to? It's a green screen.
He's in Doug's house.
Oh wow.
Oh
yeah.
He's actually in
James is actually in it.
Whoa.
I remember that. I remember that clip of when they were shooting the duel with where they fought in his basement, and there was something that what was it? Mike Matei had to help him tie a necktie. He didn't know how to tie a necktie.
Well, Doug went to James. That was in James' house.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool of James. That's pretty fucking cool of James to make Doug's wish come true for the 80th time. I mean, there really is no Channel Awesome if James doesn't agree to the collab, right?
No, that's how I found out about him. Like when they started having that beef, that's how I learned about.
Everybody did.
Critics.
That's how I found out.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember seeing him. There's like another guy. I didn't know there were other. It was the whole thing was brand spanking new. Just the idea that
he does movies. Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
All right.
Then Chris Boris shows up. He's like, I also do games. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
In the same exact
he's
way.
Awesome. Come on now.
Some guy left a. You love Chris Boris?
In like a totally ironic way, yes, I love him.
I can understand that. There was a guy in our comments recently who was like, okay, so according to your logic, Chris Boris ripped off AVGN, but Doug Walker did not? And I'm like, right. According to my logic, Doug is distinct and transformative, and Chris Boris is going, yes! I mean, he's ripping him off. What are you talking about? Get a fucking clue.
I think that's funny, though. Like how shameless some of it is.
It's so shameless. It's incredible, actually. Yeah, I won't. I have seen videos in recent years where somebody was equally shameless about ripping off Scott the Woz. And
dude.
It's incredible.
Dozens of people, yeah.
yeah. I mean, but down to like, okay, I'm going to shoot the carpet.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same kind of hand motions. I'm going to cut on the same kinds of jokes. I mean, it's just the fucking same. Incredible. James says buried during his lore dump.
But he pronounces mountain correctly. He says mountain.
That can't
he does
be
not
right.
say Maudan. He says mountain.
But he slipped a bird.
Well, wait a minute. I never thought he said Maudan.
Well, it's like Maudin, whatever the fuck
Moudin.
he says.
Is it Moudon?
That's
Moudon.
not what he doesn't say that in this.
You wouldn't believe how many people tell me that's a perfectly fine way to say mountain.
What?
I get Scott, I get comments
When you have no time,
fucking
drop
every
some
week.
letters out.
They're like, he says it absolutely fine. You guys are nitpicking and you're bitches. And I'm like, he said
That was probably
Moudon.
James. Yeah. Maudan sounds like a Godzilla.
Maudan.
Gojira versus Maudan. Fight. I said Bimmy illustrations are boring.
Oh.
This is another area where I thought the visuals were not. They were placeholders. It felt like to me.
And that didn't look like malachite. Not the.
No, yeah. In ancient times, there was a vampire masquerade player from high school.
Who was slightly overweight.
He was slightly overweight, but denied it entirely. He wore a long leather jacket from Savers. I wrote, this is a lot. How would they get rained out? How would they get rained out of this whole movie? Like, yeah, I was like, well, how would like 1 or 2 days of rain destroy this entire film? There's like so much movie. To me, this is 4 days of shooting. And then I learned later it was 4 days of shooting. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of movie to shoot in 4 days, especially if they originally planned to not have a second unit or second camera.
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
But Doug was present for every shot, you think? That probably makes sense.
I think he was.
Well, they split them up, like the movie, they split up into 2 groups. And one day they shot one group, and then another day they shot the other group.
Yeah.
And the group that Doug was not in, like as an actor, he was like the main cameraman. So.
Yeah, they have the shots of him doing it too. I just thought he got hung up on the rain a little too much. It's like, dude, why can't... He was even like, well, a little girl wouldn't play on the playground if it was wet. And I'm like, what? She might.
Oh, he's like all tripped up by the basic
the
logic of the...
Yeah.
I'm like, dude.
That's autistic. We
Even
can't
though
make
there's
this
a
movie now.
Even there's a joke that's like the girl's obviously like, I don't know, like 13 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was very like we needed to be a little more self-aware about that fact, I think.
Yeah.
Because they made a comment, I think, to try to like lampshade it a little bit, but they needed to go further because to watch her, all you can think is like, okay, we have like a special needs case here,
Well,
and
she
they didn't like
doesn't-
go.
well,
They didn't go that far.
She's as tall as the slide when she slides down.
Yeah, but I don't think they were playing that for laughs, like her largeness.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like they wrote the character like as a little girl, and then it's like, oh.
And they
who do
threw
we
in
get?
a line where they're like, she seems a little old, and that was it.
Yeah.
I was like, you're gonna have to go further and make the whole joke about the fact that she's giant for that playground.
Well, they could have lampshaded further, like, oh, the playground's wet too. Like he could have saved it.
Make a Lord of the Rings joke. They have a cave troll. Speaking of which, the fight versus the Wraiths and Rob, and who was annoyed by Rob's like, oh man, I'm from the 70s, man.
Sucks so fucking bad.
Sucks so bad. And he's laughing the whole time, is he not?
Another reason I don't like this movie as much because Rob's in it more.
Yeah, well, fair.
Oh, that's right.
Is he in Kick-Assia?
Well, he's Santa Christ at the end.
Yeah.
And he's dead for most of the time he's in the movie, so...
This is controversial though, because I think he didn't bug me as much. The person Rob grates me a lot, but the character didn't bug me. He got one pop out of me, which was, oh man, I'm gonna have to kill you.
Oh,
that's a good joke. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kill you.
Yeah. Funny enough, just to get some context on this guy, in his commentary, he was talking about how he was working for a chiropractor at the time.
Yeah,
and I was like trying to picture him like working as
Rob was.
This wasn't his full-time job. He was working at a fucking chiropractor's office during like the height of.
What the fuck did Rob do at a chiropractor?
I know. I was trying to figure that out too. Like, what was he, IT or or just like the front desk,
cracking people's backs?
Oh my god, you just painted such a funny picture in my head. Where like people keep approaching Rob for computer help, but he doesn't work in IT.
Oh,
he's like front desk or something. They're like, could you help me with Windows 10?
Oh, he based that character Jaffers on his chiropractor, or the boss there. He based the mannerisms on his boss at the chiropractic office.
The chiropractor was his boss was like a cartoon character. Yeah, interesting. I went to a chiropractor for the first time in my life recently because I've got this broken tailbone that causes me pain whenever I sit, basically. Yeah. And I assumed I can't do anything about it, so I went to Nina was like, chiropractors are, it's not an exact science and it might all be bullshit, but she's like, they helped me after my pregnancy with some lower back stuff. And she's like, maybe they can help you. And I went and they were very nice, big burly dudes that, they're meant to crack your back. And there's some like YouTube content around this. And, he talked to like some 75-year-old guy who was like, oh, that's his coccygeal ligament or something. It's probably tight when he stands. And so they were just like massage and slam his ass until it feels better. And they did that to me. They did all this stuff. And then for like a day, I felt complete pain relief for the first time in 15 years. And I was like, whoa. And then it totally came back. And then I went for like 3 or 4 more treatments and none of them helped. And then they called me. They're like, we can't help you. Goodbye.
Aww.
They're like, go someplace else. They're like, maybe they told me go see like a pelvic floor guy. I was like, isn't that for pregnant women? They're like, yeah, but it could be for you too.
It could be for you too, pussy.
Sounds like you just had a baby and need to go to a pelvic doctor.
Fucking pussy.
So I got this fruit who broke his ass and he came to the chiropractor and I told him I can't help you, but maybe the baby doctor can. Why are you bullying me? Anyway, speaking of which, EJ's back was all fucked the other day. Have you gone to see Rob Walker?
No, I have not. I have not.
Spoonie has reinforcements during this Wraith fight. He does the sort of the Gandalf Two Towers thing, and it was good to see him. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. Any character moment I think is just fun. That's when I'm having fun watching the movie. Jew Wario exposes his bright balls as a beam of light.
Great joke.
Oh,
that was funny.
Oh. Linkara.
Oh, no.
He thinks that his magic gun is so badass.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't want to see that Malachite guy versus Linkara's gun? Like a whole movie, just those two.
It's a rematch between me and Malachite.
Oh my god. Linkara movie's gonna be so fun.
Well, how long is the Atop the Fourth Wall movie?
Oh, the funny thing is that it doesn't exist as one video. It's only uploaded in YouTube in parts, so I don't know.
No way.
Yeah.
We might have to recut that too.
We'd have to add it together. Yeah.
Are you serious? I thought I saw one that, or maybe that was on.
I don't think so. Maybe it's Internet Archive stuff, but I'm pretty sure if on YouTube you look for it, it's only in a playlist on his channel.
And then there's this Matisse death thing.
Yeah.
Where we we have a running joke. Mati from Captain Planet wants to be part of the gang and he can't because Hart sucks. And then Hart was the thing that defeated Malachite. It's kind of storytelling. It's sort of kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but it's a little bit sentimental, but it's meant to be funny and self-aware, but it's a little bit sentimental. It kind of worked.
It does work.
And then when he's like, I don't know, cradling Matisse, he's doing the things that he learned to, Doug Walker's doing the things to learn to hide his balls, you know. He's got some character arc on his own.
I thought you were going to say he learned the things that he learned to do from Rob Walker working at a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And how to fix his balls.
He had an arc. That was a little arc.
The skirt thing.
Yeah, and an arc in his back, and Rob Walker helped him. I can't get it out of my head now. But just the idea that Rob Walker worked at any office in any kind of sense,
I don't, weird.
Oh, I love every time they do an indoor scene in this movie, and it's just like a totally dump lived in dump. There was a laptop on a wall for some reason. Did you see that? There was a laptop on a wall. There was this
Oh, I think I know what you're. Yeah. I mean, I had to know, and I mean these commentaries are transformative, guys, because I found out in the commentary too that Rob and Doug were renting that house that they were shooting a big part of it in.
Yep.
I guess that's interesting news, right?
Yeah,
they still live in the same house in the next movie too. So it was a lot. They weren't renting it just for the movie. It was they lived there, and they were there a while.
There's a lot to be said for a controlled location, for sure, especially when you're shooting a lot of content. We had a studio for a little while. It was an old photo studio in our town, and we rented it for $600 a month for a little while, and we shot a lot of content there. And then they kicked us out because the guy's daughter she was a baker. In fact, she made the Box Mac 100 cake, and she kicked us out. And then we were like, well, we really kind of want another studio, and we found another one that was much bigger for the same price. And we shot Junt's Nest there and a few holiday specials there. That's where Junt's Nest is that second studio. But I think we got a taste for it because we shot the Max 3 Science Theater Box Mac episode in our friend Matt's grandmother's house that she wasn't using. There was kind of just a house available to us. And so he was able to make kind of a semi-permanent set there, and we were able to set up green screen spots and stuff. And we were EJ and I especially were this is nice.
Hell yeah.
You show up, the batteries are already charging, you're ready to, this is nice. We should do, and then we spent way too much money on studios for a while. And then eventually I called it quits. And we had a futon there that John sat on and, broke.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Was not Junt compliant.
This seat is not Junt compliant. Who from Kickassia is not in this?
Lord Cat? Well,
Cat.
he makes a voice cameo.
Right. Oh, right. That guy. I remember him. He was he got in a whole thing with Spoonie.
Yeah.
After the betrayal moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
See, I'm
well-known
learning.
lore. He on his podcast he goes off on Spoonie about how he ruined his career because of that fucking betrayal moment. Cost him an interview with Notch and whatever.
Seeing how talented and charismatic Spoonie is, I'll have to look into it more. I don't understand what the crash out was about. I think maybe he's just sensitive.
He was looking for attention. I think he was just looking for attention. He was just bitter that his career on that had failed, and he was looking for somebody to blame.
And he's pretty much quit now, right? I think he
hasn't. No, he hasn't made anything in a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's interesting when people just quit. It's just
same
over.
with Spoonie though. Spoonie isn't. I mean, Spoonie quit and he was successful.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I've been talking about Spoonie.
Oh, okay. I was talking about Lord Cap, but they
So
both quit.
Yeah, converging. Two roads
I'm
diverge.
surprised. I'm surprised Spoonie doesn't even try to come back. I think he probably could make something happen.
I think people would totally go for it.
What's weird about Spoonie is he wasn't he didn't get canceled. He just kind of had a mental break and stopped making videos, and that was it.
Yeah.
He was really successful. I mean, he bought a house or had a mortgage on a house that got foreclosed because he stopped making videos and was not making money. And then his girlfriend broke up with him and
he just has mental health problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Well,
Because
one of those.
I think he can overcome them.
He was one of those people that the negative shit really got to him. He would always go on Twitter and complain about people being mean to him constantly. And then just I don't know, one day it broke him, I guess.
Yeah. It can become tiresome where you're just so I can't upload without like cruelty like entering my life. I completely understand. It's the open internet. It's come to be expected. But I also think that it's very unnatural for us as humans to have to like withstand like, indiscriminate cruelty. It's not something that we normally encounter in our day-to-day lives. Like that kind of heat. Or like if my looks are a little off that day, like I'm gonna see like comment after comment about what an ugly chud I am. It's like this is not how I'm supposed to live life, you know?
Yeah, that stuff hurts.
Yeah. I get like how somebody who's not quite fully prepared for it. You know, like we had an opportunity recently where a well-known lol cow was like, hey, would you like to collab? And it was like semi-interesting until you realize like all it's going to do is attract cruelty. All it's going to do is attract like heat and negativity and terribleness. And I shan't. Sometimes the low view videos, you know, if you ever want to make yourself feel better, like sometimes the low view videos are a little bit better. Fly under the radar of all this stuff.
I like living there. Living in the 2000s, the 3000s.
Yeah, it's not a terrible place to be. And I keep noticing that like fairly big channels don't do all that much better than us. You know, like somebody was telling me recently we were clowning on Chris Boers a little bit, and they were like, "Well, you don't understand. Puppet Steve is very successful, and has a lot of subs."
Wrong. No.
I was looking at videos. I'm like, this ain't a lot of views, man.
No, not anymore. It was a golden goose for him for a long time, but the channel doesn't work anymore.
Well, it seemed very opportunistic, very similar to how ripping off AVGN in 2007 is very opportunistic.
Well, what's funny is you like dive into what he loves and what he's passionate about and what he's like not ripping off, and it's probably the ghost shit that everybody makes fun of. Like
you're saying that's his most original thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was doing that before he was doing Irate Gamer. Like he's been doing that for a long time. Yes, he's been doing the ghost shit is not new. People think that it's new because he like brings it into the forefront sometimes, and people now it's more visible now, I guess. But no, he's been doing the ghost shit forever. So.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. But yeah, he obviously is passionate about it. I don't know actually for sure if he believes in ghosts or not.
He does, but like people who just like very like curiously look into him and they don't like, they keep it very distant and they don't look into him at all, think that it's probably a bit because it's a strange thing to be into, but he's a strange guy. And yes, it's sincere. He's into it.
So on a technical level, which, you know, the making of gave us some insights. One of the things that they said early on was they got a new camera, as we established, and used the same mic as Kickassia to cut down on the wind. This seems like it's like a little under ambitious when it comes to the audio, I think. Now, I understand that everything is under ambitious when it comes to the technical stuff, but audio remains for me one of those things where it's like you can't be using some onboard mic. Like, is there any way? Can we fucking? But I guess you have to, because what are you gonna do? Lav 25 people per scene? Yeah. What would I do? I don't know. I guess
sometimes it's a little distracting. Like when Doug got his shit later, like early on, like the scene I complained about. When it's just Doug, he did that later, and it sounds completely different from the shots of the other people.
I think competent audio with imperfect visuals would elevate the movie like quite a bit. Like it would make 100%. If the movie was shot nicer, I don't think it would elevate it as much as nicer audio would elevate it.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. That's the secret to making something have more production value. I mean, the sound is the first thing you do.
Yep. You everybody's got to learn it. Because filmmaking is a visual art, so you don't think of that. But the truth is psychologically, good audio makes the visuals look better. Actually, it'll sell the space for because a lot of time when you're shooting a basic scene, you're trying to establish what the space is and what the distance from the actors are and all that, and you tell some of that visual story through the audio mix. And so, I don't know how much I can expect from Suburban Knights in this respect, but I think if there were just kind of clean dialogue recordings, and for the most part it was fine. I didn't feel like anybody was blowing.
For a consumer camera, like probably the onboard preamps and like that, It actually sounded pretty good for what it was worth. But yeah,
I keep thinking I'm like because Gloria loves Nostalgia Critic. We watch it all the time.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Well, she really got into it with the Cartoon All Stars thing and Food Fight. She loves the Food Fight episode.
Did you start from like the beginning? Like how are you feed?
No, well, we got that
randomly?
tape in the Cartoon All Stars tape, and I was like, hey, like I'd like to show you something.
That is the first episode of Nostalgia Critic, right? Like the first like actual one. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it definitely comes off that way. He looks like he's like recording from a crack den.
Yeah. Well, he has episodes that he called Nostalgia Critic, but they're really more like bum reviews, and that they're just him like shouting and going, "Oh, this happened." Like he has some videos like that he branded Nostalgia Critic. But I think the first like the character we know and love now, I think that was Cartoon All Stars. Whatever.
For some reason, she'll go for the one of the things my kid loves more than anything is like fucked up, weird animations that never should have been made. So Food Fight's a good example of that.
Okay.
There's like the Barbie Nutcracker. He recently did that. That's like a fucked up 3D animation that was way too early. There's a lot of YouTube has a lot of like very strange tellings of like Rapunzel, Beauty and the Beast. She gets Aladdin. She gets a kick out of that. She likes the bootleg. We've watched a lot of JonTron. So she's watched the like when Simba hangs himself and Timon digs his own grave and stuff. Oh my god!
Well, JonTron did Food Fight as well, so you can.
We watched that too.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we wait, you know. So yeah, she'll on a nightly basis she'll be like Nostalgia Critic.
And then
JonTron?
canonically, JonTron kills Nostalgia Critic because he reviewed Food Fight after JonTron.
Right,
And
there's a
at
moment.
the intro of a Nostalgia Critic episode,
I recall.
JonTron like sneaks up behind him and like hits him with something, and he's like, "That's what you get for reviewing Food Fight."
Back when I didn't know who JonTron was, actually.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I thought he was just some other derpy guy from Channel Awesome that I don't
No,
watch.
they actually said no. Like him and PBG applied to be on That Guy with the Glasses at some point, and they turned him down.
What?
Because they're fucking stupid.
What are your standards? You must
They
be
don't know
this
talent when it's
autistic
hitting them in the
to
face. Yeah.
I mean, there's some really crazy ones that were on Channel Awesome. There was The Amazing Atheist, if you remember
Oh
him.
yeah. That in fact, I only know him as a channel. I didn't realize he became famous for like political shit after. I had no idea.
Yeah. And then there was what's his face? Skibidi-bop-bada. That guy. Who's that guy?
Oh yeah, he was on. Yeah, Review Tech USA. He was on
Review
that,
Tech
yeah.
USA. Yeah, he was Channel Awesome,
He
right?
was late. He was late.
Wait, no, was he?
wasn't like a
No, or am I
core-
thinking of Movie Bob?
No, Movie Bob was on Screw Attack. You are correct. Review Tech USA was on That Guy with the Glasses, but it was like later. It was like after To Boldly Flee era. I think
To me, that'd be like yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Well, I'm
ahead.
just saying, I don't think of him as like a core guy. I don't know.
Well, yeah, fair. No, I'm sure, but I'm just calling out a few.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wow, that person was on that website.
A lot of
Like,
it was
to
a
me,
wide
that'd be
net.
like if like Boogie had a 2-week stay on Channel Awesome or something. It would be noteworthy.
I don't think he did.
Or a Dark Side Phil, perhaps.
Sure.
All right, so as the audio decided to shoot close-ups of long speeches later for efficiency. Smart, right?
Yeah.
So anytime anybody's monologuing, specifically Doug himself, I put a note, Rob, I've got it worse than anyone, quote unquote. Oh my God, it's so
Yeah.
embarrassing. Yeah, the murder mystery, Holly. Oh, I have a question. Line producer. Why did they choose to give her the credit of line producer and not just producer?
Yay. Good. That's a good point.
I don't know what that means. What's the difference?
I remember I gave Nina that credit on I Need to Lose 10 Pounds, and I don't even know why I did. What is a line producer?
It's less than a producer.
A production manager who is responsible for the practical aspects of a film or television production from pre-prod to post-production. They oversee the budget, schedule, logistics, and personnel, ensuring the production stays on track and within budget. Well, for a low-budget movie like this, you probably would just call that person the producer to be kind to them, probably. But
That's just producer for the most part.
yeah.
I mean, what Mike Machad, I was thinking, like, if they had gotten Holly Brown to do whatever the hell it is Mike Machad does, they'd probably be in better shape.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
I think we should just do the documentary. It sounds easier. Sure, let's do that. It's just fucking.
It's a shame that Doug is so derpy because he loses the respect of his people. I think obviously that happened, but they all kind of wanted to one up him a little bit after a while. It felt like why is this guy in charge? Where where it would have been a lot better if everybody had like some degree of loyalty to the guy.
Some of them, like Lindsay Ellis, yeah. I get what you're saying.
And by the way, I mean, outside of the Liv Tyler jokes, she had very little to do in this movie. Like almost like the Sarah Palin thing is not funny, but at least it was like a thing to do.
Yeah, at least she was in the movie. Yeah, and this she has like 2 moments. I thought the stunt woman joke was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, sure.
Dude, yes, that was so funny. Actually, she came out of nowhere, and I thought that was delivered well too.
I just get the sense that Lindsay, like, even in her line deliveries and stuff, she just, and I know like her dry Janine Garofalo thing is part of who she is, but she just seemed like somebody who didn't want to be in the movie. And I want to watch the people who really want to be in the movie. So film brain.
If you haven't seen this, I would recommend watching. There is like right before Lindsay left the site, there's an interview Doug did. He had like a show called Shut Up and Talk where he like interviewed people.
I remember he had James on.
Yep. He had James on one. He had Lindsay on one, and she is like so passive aggressively, like C-wordy to him. It's just, I don't know. It's a good watch.
Wow.
Oh, I can't wait I gotta see that.
Yeah, I have to see that. What a bitch.
Yeah, she really did get bitchy. She was. I don't really understand. Well, you know, I don't know if this has anything to do with it. Did you guys ever hear that Bargov and Lindsay had a thing?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, that's like a rumor, right?
Yeah, and I heard it was around this movie, like before it, and you could see sort of the tension because that Benzai guy, the guy who plays Conan, he was flirting it up with Lindsay in that Denny's.
Right, oh, big time. She I know she was with Todd in the Shadows for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was that real? I thought that was kayfabe.
Well, fuck. Well, now we need to know.
I thought that was just like jokes for the video.
Did
like,
Lindsay Ellis really date
Todd in the Shadows?
Todd in the Shadows? I have to say, Lindsay's got 2 besties that are on Nostalgia Chick. One of them is unappealing to me. And in more ways than one. One of them is rather cute, and I enjoy. And she was in this, although she apparently was about to pass out in the middle of the. They were like, "So what's her face was going to pass out mid shoot?" I was like, "Why?"
The one they were like taping to the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Google Gemini. Yeah. No, Lindsay Ellis has a husband named. No, I know she has a husband currently. Well, you fucking AI.
Gemini's not going to know shit about this. You got to dive into the real links.
Well, okay, so I mean. There's a Reddit. Todd in the Shadows has posted a statement regarding a separate set of allegations against him, his podcast host, and Lindsay Ellis. What?
What? Allegations?
Podcast.
Allegations. All right, well, whatever. I have no idea if they were together or not, but I thought they were. All I'm saying is this. It's crazy to me that a fetching young lady like Lindsay Ellis at the peak of her suitability looked at this group of people and said, "This will be my dating pool." It's kind of wild, but again, we all have hope.
Rob Walker got hit by a katana or whatever.
Yeah,
I told you it would suck to be me.
Can you believe Suede was using a real katana in that battle?
And
that's dangerous.
Yeah, you know, I want to shit on them for that, but I've made similar mistakes. But I think especially like I have making of footage from movies when I was much young, like at 16 and 17, and I'm like, man, if I was 40 now and I walked in on that, I'd be like, guys, I'm shutting the whole thing down. Like, stop. You are you sure that that's not a real gun? And why do you have a real sword? And who's the oldest person here? John Hunt. This guy is the oldest person here. How old is he? 20? Anyway. Yeah. So, I'm not sure if everybody in the audience knows what, like when you hear the term principal photography, it generally means kind of everything you're shooting and the main thrust of the shoot. So like the primary effort of making the movie, which in this case would involve like getting everybody out to location and all that. And then it seems to me like they probably did extended what are called pickups where you're shooting stuff after the fact, little shots to kind of like piece the rest of it together. Whereas like with the AVGN movie, principal photography seems to have only shot maybe 40% of the movie. And then like 60% of it was pickups that lasted for like 3 years of post-production. So like James really bungled principal photography, it seems like, on that movie.
Another thing to put in perspective, it took James years to piece that together, and Doug pieced all of these together in like a month or two each.
Yeah, and they're all better.
While still doing Nostalgia Critic.
Look, at the end, like watchability is the only thing that really matters when you're making a movie.
Yeah.
And I know, James concerned himself with budget and taxes and unions and Californias, and he didn't make a watch. And he made a few cool props, some monsters and stuff. But at the end of the day, Doug knows how to make a much more watchable, compelling, captures your attention kind of experience. I mean, people hate these movies, right? Like these are supposed to be total cringe movies, but so far I think it's 2 for 2. 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
I would consider Kick-Assy a legit cult classic, but sure.
I know you would.
I don't know.
well, if you consider that one, I think Suburban Knights deserves it a lot more. And also, imagine if Doug Walker had that budget that James had.
Damn, that's what a thing to ponder.
Because they could shoot it fast, and then they had enough money to go back and shoot some more. Like, I think give this guy some more.
You could shut Lindsay up,
Oh, you can get rid of her.
Yeah, first of all, get rid of her. Second of all, if she's like, permit, you're like, fine, fuck. Hand her a stack of cash and say, you get a permit.
Well,
you're the second line producer now.
The Linkara movie did have a budget, though. Like, he crowdfunded, $80,000 to
Give me a fucking break.
I'm not even kidding, yeah. His has, a budget. He spent it all on, the shittiest set in the world, but he did have a budget.
You know what? That one's going to be really fun. And the reason is that it's not going to be fun to watch. It's not at all. But it's going to be fun to talk about because I can tell from a mile away that it's not going to be obvious what's a joke and what's fucking serious as a heart attack.
Yeah.
You're not going to know.
It's totally one of those. You're right.
Yeah.
What's with Linkara always having spare Star Trek suits? I heard that in the commentary.
Always.
He always brings Star Trek suits to the set.
Yeah, he's wearing one randomly at the end of this, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he strikes me as the type to have a spare Star Trek costume.
Well,
Seems
guys.
He
He brought a green Power Ranger suit to the set too. He's just sitting there, fat, sitting on a hotel bed, just waiting.
Just in case I need it.
Linkara didn't have to fly.
Excuse me, I need to get to the bathroom.
He lives in
It's hard to
Wisconsin,
peel off
so
this thing.
He drove.
Go
so
to the
bring more
toilet.
shit.
Sorry, Jason. We're doing impressions.
I was just saying Linkara lives closer. He lives in Wisconsin, so he could drive, so he could bring more shit. He didn't have to worry about what he could fit on an airplane.
I can bring my extra Power Rangers outfit.
I hear Angry Joe had a hard time getting guns and weaponry through, but the Dragon Dagger came through safely. Do, 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 do. You're not supposed to sing it, Linkar. Yeah, so day 3 was canceled, so they had a canceled day. That must have killed them.
Yeah.
Nobody wants, you don't want to be canceling a day during a rushed shoot.
Doug said he was depressed and he didn't even get out of bed and he didn't shower.
Yeah, he wasn't eating.
Yeah.
He was like, I need to make Suburban Knights. I totally feel it. I've been there. It's a crushing disappointment. Yeah, he was very unhappy. It was all falling apart. And yeah, it made me ponder, because I was like, I totally get it. Fuck. I mean, if I record a podcast and something goes wrong with the recording and it's trash, I'm like bummed for a couple days. I'm like, I wish we had that. And I got thousands of videos that are uploaded. Like, if we can lose one, it's okay. And it made me think about that too. I was like, Doug, he can't just be happy with the fact that he made a movie last year. He's always forward motion. I like that about Doug. Don't blink, as Robert Rodriguez said. Oh, and I'm sympathetic to this notion of topping oneself. And I think it's even kind of a little bit of a trap with YouTube stuff sometimes because ritual uploads, you're like, am I just playing the same note or am I trying to excite people in a new way? Especially once you have an established audience and you're like, okay, they're expecting this. And that becomes kind of the artistic fun of it. And at some point, I think it collapses. It's because you can't really feasibly top yourself any further. Everybody reaches that at some point. Filmmakers reach that. And
yeah, the 80% rule, I guess, is smart.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm learning that now.
Always go 80%. Yeah. Yeah. And then you can actually
target 80% of your audience, I think is what you're talking about. And 20.
No, I just mean effort-wise.
Oh, okay.
Because it's more important, because it usually turns out better than 80% anyway. But you can get caught in that 100% thing to where you don't release enough, and I'm learning that right now.
Totally.
If you're Doug, it's 50 or 55%.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on what category, because obviously in like time committed and output, I'd say it's like
2,000%.
Yeah, 150 fucking like way. He totally burned himself out. But yeah, in order to achieve that level of output,
You're skipping something.
He'll compromise wherever he must. All the way down to, again, I'm like, I even admire that a bit, where he's like, I had a whole movie storyboarded. I got all these people out here. I guess we'll make a murder mystery in the hotel. I don't know. We're making something.
Yeah. He had that backup plan. I almost thought, that could have worked actually if they really wanted to.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have come up with something, where he's doing his fake scream at somebody who got murdered, or Linkara overimposes his terrible comedy onto it somehow.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we've covered most of this. Yeah, Linkara gives an annoying speech. Oh well, fuck. Malachite just about broke his neck and died.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a terrible thing.
Oh, that was crazy.
I can't look at that kind of thing.
Amazing
That gives me the fucking chills. Can you imagine?
Okay, let's try to get it.
Yeah, and he walks it off. It off. And I'm like, ow, dude.
I think maybe it's because I'm old now, and landing on your neck becomes. For those of you who are getting a little bit older now, do you just feel like you sort of like guard your body with a little bit more caution and care as whereas.
Yeah. I slept wrong the other day, and my back was in intense pain for days.
We watched Jackass 4 the other day, and they're all like 50 in that movie.
Oh,
and I'm like, this is a snuff film. This is not good. You're watching like Johnny Knoxville gets knocked by a bull, and he goes like this. He goes like 3 times in the air, and he was so concussed, his brain swirled around in his head so hard that he was in a dark depression, like a deep sadness that he couldn't bring himself out of. He was forgetful. He had all these horrible, like, CET symptoms from the concussion. Your brain's not supposed to go boom, boom, boom in your head. But he couldn't find motive. He couldn't get out of bed in the morning, like, for months. And it looks comical. It looks like a cartoon. but anyway.
No.
Anyway, you go back to like Jackass 1, you go back to the late 90s. These guys are on skateboards, they're banging themselves. It's somehow it's all okay to watch to watch younger guys get banged around. Watching 50-year-old guys, like knock me in the balls as hard as you can. I'm 50 years old. Like,
oh man.
You got to guard those things the older you get. I fell down the stairs a couple years ago and fractured my back.
Oh my God. You fractured your back?
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, at my parents' house when I was visiting. And yeah, it hasn't really, I feel pretty good, all things considered, but I do feel stiff every time I get up from the floor. So
That's the thing is, you fracture something, you'll probably have some residual symptom that comes with it forever, unfortunately. That's why I'm watching Jackass and I'm like, I got a broken tailbone for the rest of my life. This is like broken tailbone city. Like these guys are just for one shot for footage. But anyway, so I struggle to, and Malachite looked like he must have been probably like late 20s, that guy. And he landed right on his neck, exactly the way, and he's got a little extra weight on him too. He's got a sack of potatoes on him. So he's not, sometimes you see a real skinny guy that can kind of crumple up and maybe is a little bit more flexible. This looked like it. Can you imagine if the Walker Boys accidentally got a guy killed on their movie?
Yeah, or paralyzed permanently or whatever.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, him going back for that second one was actually, it made me like him a little more. Because I really hated that character. But he went back and did it. And I was like, even though I was like, oh, you should have kept the hat on, but otherwise.
Can we do it a third time?
Maybe he felt, maybe the ego was seriously wounded after that first one. Because he probably was excited to show that he could do a flip.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, even like after, they're just like, oh, you don't have to do this. Like, don't worry about it. He's like, no, I want to do it. I'm going to do it. And then he did. So
he's like, I won't die. I promise. I don't know.
If I were, honestly, if I were him and this is like my one chance to be in a movie, I want to do a fucking backflip in it too if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, why not?
At that age.
Yeah.
But now I'm 40 and I'm looking, like, if I'm on a set and somebody lands right on their neck and they survive and they're totally fine, I might be like, we're not doing it again. We're not doing it. Like, I'm not going to like be like, hey, let's try it again. And then the second time you die, I'm
Because you might get sued 10 years from now for that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it all on camera, gleefully filming it. Yeah, I don't know. Lindsay's cute friend got lightheaded for no reason. I can't get over it. What the hell happened to her?
They were tight. They used like tape, right, to tightly put her.
The
on
smell
wall.
alone makes me lightheaded.
It was probably just cutting off like her circulation.
She's too pure and good to be around that. She almost passed out. And I was thinking, Justin Carmichael, controversies aside, he's got 3 years to live when you're watching this movie. It's kind of crazy. It's like 3 years from now, you're dead.
Wow.
He's the only one, right? Like everybody else is still alive, I'm pretty sure.
That's a great question. How many of these people are dead?
I can't think
Malachite
of any more,
lived.
but yeah.
Yeah, he had a coffee shop, Malachite, in Wisconsin called, what was it, All Around Cafe. I was kind of because they did this extra video for the DVD.
They made a promo
remember?
for it and had it in the DVD. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what he got. That's how he got paid.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they make a reference to this in the movie because when he takes the phone call where it's supposed to like undercut his character or whatever because he has a fucking cell phone, he's talking about like cappuccinos and lattes.
Oh, that's funny.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think he dresses all douchey at the coffee store?
I hope not.
I think that's his. I don't know.
I wonder what the fuck is Malachite doing now?
I looked him up.
Yeah?
And I don't know what he's doing.
Well, they
I don't
continued
think
to
he has
use him like in nostalgia. Like when he came back with the sketches, he was one of the like Scrooges that would be in some of the sketches. They recast him to like. I think I remember one where the charts, like, oh, look at the charts. He's not one of the people saying look at the charts, but he's in like that video as like some other character.
Doug was like, you could be the next
He
tomorrow.
shows up in To Boldly Flee, right?
What?
Does he show up in To Boldly Flee?
I don't remember. Not as Malachite if he does, but he might be
No.
somewhere hanging around. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one beginning to end, so I don't know.
The French guy who was Conan, didn't he bring like a bunch of condoms and stuff in his luggage?
Oh yeah,
And
Yeah.
Oh, he brought condoms.
hell yeah.
What?
Yeah, they were looking through
Hell
his.
yeah,
they were
dude.
fetching something from his suitcase, and they found not one condom, a box of
Dude.
condoms. Like, what are you expecting to do?
well, he
on
is
this?
French. I mean, you can't.
There's only 3 girls in the movie, so it's like, yeah.
He was going for Lindsay for sure.
Look-
We know that.
I don't think it's advised to be like, maybe I can get my fuck on while I'm on Suburban Nights. But of all the males, he's probably the most attractive, frankly. So maybe he thought he had a shot.
He's Pepe Le Pew.
To Linkara's arm. So I'm in the not so awesome document,
You're looking
and
at it right now?
I just want to go through Obscura Lupus's
Okay,
comments.
how much of the document is hers? Because it's a lot.
It appears to be quite a bit, but
I think
she's
it's
the
the
only one that
largest
has
chunk.
like a solid Suburban Night section.
Okay.
Everybody else, there's mentions of Suburban Night. This happened on Suburban Night. Malachite, a lot of mentions of Malachite almost died. Now, what I found striking about these remarks is that I don't quarrel with any of them.
Well,
They're all consistent with what I saw in the making of documentary. It's just that she seems more offended by it than I am.
yeah, exactly.
So let's start with Doug's style of directing is to tell us to do it more like him. If we pointed out we wouldn't deliver a line like that, he'd tell us, we'll try it both ways. So he could use the take of us doing it his way. We'll try it both ways became a running joke. I think it's kind of a charming joke,
Yeah,
frankly.
that sounds fun.
It was embarrassing when we were filming in the park. Well, I would think so.
Shut the fuck up. Oh my God.
And Doug would start giving directions to passersby like they were part of the production. Again, I find this charming.
Well, I mean, they were like in the shot. He comments on this on the commentary. He's like, yeah, and then there were people like watching us, so I had to tell him to get out of the way. So,
But why would you put like that bullet point in this document?
it's,
Yeah,
Like this document that's meant to be like this, like, hey, like we're going to expose a scandal. There's a thing in there about like he was kind of annoying sometimes.
Yeah, that's of all the
Like,
things.
no shit, he's a creative person who's in charge.
Yeah.
As it was done with Kickassia, that's almost like a biblical reading. Like, so it would be, so as it
So it
was
came
done
to
with
pass.
Kickassia,
sorry.
they only have one camera with Rob at the helm. This is a larger production and with 2 teams. So Lindsay and Ed have a closed door meeting. What's this all about? They had a closed door meeting. Did they fuck with condoms? With a big box of condoms. With them to convince them to use more than one camera. Do you think they had to do a ton of convincing?
Probably not.
They borrowed Todd's. It was the same model, and one of my SD cards. Ed, who was there to play a cloak. What?
I thought it was Spoonie's SD card. The fuck is this?
Yeah, it was.
Spoonie, come on the pod.
Tell all.
What's up?
So great.
Ed, who was there to play a cloak, is recruited to cameraman, and Liz, Lewis's guest, is asked to play a cloak. That's the whole bullet point.
So
That's it. That's the tweet.
That sounds like just troubleshooting.
This sounds like
So
you're just
Liz-
describing like basic events.
Liz did 2 commentaries on this, I think. She did one with Linkara and one with Holly? Question mark.
Oh, really? Definitely with Holly.
Because you
I didn't know she did
mentioned
one
you
with
listened to the Holly one. I listened to the Linkara one. So she did 2 of them? That's weird.
I guess. Like, why?
I don't
of
know.
all the ones to do too.
I have no idea.
How many fucking commentaries? I mean, we're making one as we speak. Because of this, she never. Oh, okay. It goes on. There's another bullet, but it's continuous with the last one. Because of this, she never signed a contract. When filming a stunt with Orlando, her knee is bashed in.
Okay.
And they coerce her into signing a contract that says they aren't liable. What did they do to coerce this? How did they, how did they force the issue here?
Guys, can you sign this?
We would like you to sign this. She doesn't want to do it because it would give them ownership of whatever she'd filmed there. Well, why is that a problem?
Wait, what is she filming there? What?
Unclear. 4 people total were injured during the movie and no safety precautions were ever put in place. True.
You're a bunch of
I saw a man fall on his fucking neck, and then they're like, let's try it again. Liz and Bennett were both hurt during stunts with Orlando, and Orlando himself landed on his neck wrong. This was included in a blooper reel. I like these sick fucks. Put it in the blooper reel.
I don't know. I thought it was treated with the amount of like shock that it should have been.
Yeah, they weren't like, he fell on his head.
and why waste that moment anyway?
Yeah.
You should show
Right.
it.
Yeah, if he's okay, right?
He's
and
fine,
okay
yeah.
with-
Exactly. If he broke
They
his neck,
coerced
it'd
him
be
into
one
landing
thing.
on his neck.
Yeah. He got up immediately and he was like, oh, I'm fine. And it wasn't like he's dead. So
He got up and said he was perfectly fine, and they put this in the blooper reel.
yeah.
What are you fucking doing here, Lupus? Elisa was taped to the wall in a cross position. Oh, that's the cute girl.
Yeah.
Was taped to the wall in a cross position, and because she was there for so long, she passed out. Okay, we have an answer.
Well, did she pass out or
was she
not, or
there?
was she just getting lightheaded?
She was in
She was
what,
in,
like crucifixion?
crucifix.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get crucified, you do pass out.
That's true.
So there you go.
Plus, they probably didn't feed her all day, so that's probably why.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
No catering.
they didn't say that here. I'm sure they would have taken the opportunity. The weather was cold, and some people like Ben had pretty flimsy costumes, so the higher-ups were worried about us. Small squabble. I'm not sure I would describe some of these gentlemen, like Rob Walker, as a higher-up. The people in charge. I'm not sure that I wouldn't want to describe them as the board of trustees or something. We had a meeting where they asked us if we wanted to make it an improvised mockumentary and shoot it indoors, but we unanimously voted to keep going. There was a sense of camaraderie there that was completely absent from To Boldly Flee.
Yeah.
So she ends her complaints about Suburban Knights with, we had a pretty good time and we actually had a lot of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what was the point?
just
I think that when they were putting this thing together, it was just like anything goes. Nobody.
air all your grievances.
I don't. There was no Chat GPT to be like, now remove all the bullshit. I'm tempted to. Well, yeah. One of her first complaints was she never received a To Boldly Flee DVD.
What?
Well, that actually is pretty scandalous.
That is bullshit. I used to run into that all the time. Or you'd be part of somebody's production, they wouldn't get you a DVD. What the fuck? Back then, you couldn't really upload it anywhere, so you needed a DVD.
Yeah.
we'll go through this another time. But that's I think we've covered it, guys.
Yeah, good movie. I'll watch it again.
Sure.
I would watch it again.
Well, look, there's a lot of commentaries to get through. Maybe I got some good listening to do. Yeah, I thought it was fine. My only notes were, just a few unfunny characters, but generally a well-timed, well-paced, maybe a little too long. Even if you could get it down to like 145, it would improve it.
I think around the 140 mark, I was like, oh, I'm starting to, my back is starting to hurt. I can't.
I like it.
It comes down to this, guys. I think that Rob and Doug thought it was a shit show that they couldn't ever recover from. And hence, to me, it was one of the best ones they've done of these. And so it just shows they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
As William Goldman said, nobody knows shit in his famous screenwriting book. It's in the creative arts. It's hard to really these guys are particularly stupid in some ways, but I do find there have been times in my creative life where I was like, I'm just gonna, we're just gonna shoot this. We're gonna get through it, whatever. And then it turns out like it just has some magic, and the whole thing's not magic. I don't want to overstate it. But there's a lot of magic here. And I think the reason is because by this point, it was 2 years of pretty solid creative collaborations that culminated in something. And that's a special thing. It's a lot more special than the AVGM movie, which is like, talk about coerced. Everybody was coerced. James himself, the audience, we were all forced to get through that thing. So, Scotty Dunn, you got to go subscribe to his channel. He puts up awesome stuff all the time. He hasn't covered To Boldly Flee yet, but that's coming in the next few months at least.
Oh, it's coming.
That's coming.
Oh, boy.
And then and Jason Graves, everybody's already subscribed to him. This dude talks about Mario.
You.
He talks about Mario Kart. It blows up, no problem. He's done another thrift store video. You got to go see that.
Oh yeah, go watch that one. You don't have to watch my
way.
Mario Kart video. I don't care about that one. I made that in like an hour. Who cares? But like the thrift store one, sure. Go check that.
It'll
one.
probably return a few bucks. I bet you'll take the bucks.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
The thrift ones are great, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I love those thrift ones. And the Madden one, you can't. That's an all timer, I think. The Madden video.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. When the thrift store video went up, I stopped everything.
Me too.
It was an event.
I did too.
Oh no.
Popped up on my TV and I watched it on the TV.
Oh,
Did your
no,
wife watch it with you by any chance? Or just
TV?
curious. Yeah.
She did.
What?
And she was like, this stuff is
Yeah.
good.
My Nina watched it with me as
we
well.
love that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Because
Ridiculous.
you can kind of play along. You can be like, oh, like I would have bought that. Oh, weird that he wants to buy that. Is he really going to watch this stuff on DVD?
I've gotten so much use out of that fucking 5-disc DVD changer. It's like, it's not even like, I've been going through the Family Guy DVDs. Like I already went through the South Park ones I bought, and then I went to Family Guy. Yeah, I can't wait to go to the Seinfeld ones. I've never listened to any of the Seinfeld commentaries. So
that'll be fun.
That's exciting.
Wait,
Also,
were you filming with
yeah, what's up?
Were you filming with your glasses at one point?
Yeah, they're all, it's
Okay.
all glasses. So
I love that too. I was like, wow, because that makes it so much easier to go in those
Yeah.
places and do it. I love.
well, no, you get fucking like kicked out, and everybody's staring at you if you have your fucking phone.
Believe me,
out.
I've
Yeah,
been there.
you can't
I've
do
walked
that.
in those places with a 500-pound dude just filming him outright.
Well, what's weird is
And there's
when you're with a
like,
group
just
of, when
just leave.
when you're with a group of people, it's like it's weirdly a lot easier because like security or like random employees are less likely to tell you to get the fuck out. But if you're just by yourself, you look so fucking creepy just pointing your phone everywhere. I think it draws more attention.
In my experience, the salespeople on the floor, they have to tell you to stop filming.
Yeah.
And so all you got to do is when they start walking towards you, just put your phone down.
Oh.
And then they're like, okay, cool. But if you like keep the phone up and keep filming, they're like, sir, you have to stop. But if you just stop every time they come near you, they'll be like, fuck it, who cares? You know?
Before I
Yeah, I've seen you get kicked out. Before,
Yeah, we've gotten
Frankie.
kicked out. Yeah, it's true.
It
And
happens,
I was like, what?
It happens kind of infrequently with you guys though, because you've done like hundreds of fucking like videos.
Yeah, I'd say our success rate is high. Yeah.
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 And we
like,
don't exactly
before I
hide
got those-
ourselves.
Wait, did you get a
Before I
permit
got those
though?
glasses,
Did you get a permit,
I would-
Frankie?
I would try and like record shit with my phone, and I got kicked out a few times just in like not even trying that many. So it was just like,
I think you're right. When an 8 foot tall guy with long hair and he's by himself and he's it's just him filming. You know, there is something just immediately more suspicious about that than a group of friends filming something and talking to one another.
I don't know, whatever.
One time I said, I was like, I'm playing Pokemon Go.
It's a good one.
Oh yeah,
I'm playing
Back
Pokemon
when that was
Go.
big. It was a good excuse. Yeah.
It works.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. This mall's a Pokestop. It's not my fault.
Coming. I'm getting one of those. So let's tease it. You know, probably in many months from now, we'll obviously do Too Boldly Flee. We've talked about the Atop the Fourth Wall movie. I think maybe we want to do Cinema Snob. Who else has made a movie? Did Spoonie ever make a movie? Who's made movies?
He tried. That was part of his crash out, is that he raised, like, he had a Patreon goal, because they used to have goals on Patreon to make a movie. And there's a famous video of him, like, freaked out, like, oh, we hit the Patreon goal for me to make a movie? I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's just fucking like that. We're
going to do them all.
Spazzing out about it.
I'm pretty excited about doing the Red Letter Media movies. And I'm talking all of them.
Oh, those
I'm
are
talking
good.
Feeding Frenzy.
Well, Space Cop's good.
I'm talking Space Cop. I'm talking Feeding Frenzy. I'm talking The Recovered.
Gorilla Interrupted, of course.
Yes. Love it. Fucking love it. Well, I don't
love
really
that
like the movie,
movie.
but I love the
making of. Yeah, the making of is good.
There'll be lots to talk about there. Just got to do them. Who else is like a bit? Well, look, that's what you can comment on. What do you need to see? You know, because we'll do this for the next few years, I think, probably. We'll just keep coming back and reviewing these movies because it's fun.
An event. Yeah.
Yeah, make it an
You
event.
can look forward to.
I know there's a few other slobs who want to, like, you know, maybe they have their pet movie they want to sit in.
Yeah.
You know, we'll let them do that.
I'd be willing to rotate out for, like, not for Doug Walker shit. I want to be here for that, but like other stuff, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Get somebody else on.
To Boldly Flee, I'd love to. We should all come back.
The gang's got to get back.
I think you got to finish the trilogy, right?
Yeah.
You got it.
I mean, that's
Complete
I
the
need to see
trilogy.
what happens.
As James says in the Snicks flicks, you must complete the trilogy.
Yeah, true. I mean, I've done Snicks flicks. That was hard. You know what? Watching the Snicks flicks was a fucking chore. That was really hard because that goes on for a few hours if you watch all of them. I do not recommend.
Red Cow Arcade.